Tuesday in the state of Alabama. He was televised by Newsmax on the Will Cain Show.
And today, I will announce that I will be the future governor of the great state of Alabama. There we go. Now, I've still got 18 months to go with President Trump to make America great again. We got a lot of work to do. Monday we'll go back and pass the big, beautiful bill for President Trump. But I'm doing this to help this country and the great state of Alabama.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A Morgan County judge has denied bond to a man who is being charged with a DUI that killed a teenager on May 18th. Kevin Penich is accused of having over a dozen alcoholic drinks from 3 different restaurants before he got behind the wheel and started driving at 111 miles per hour. The subsequent crash killed 17-year-old Chloe Hastings. A woman who was last seen on a raft on Black Creek this past Sunday in Nakalula Falls has been found dead. The body of 51-year-old Regina Smith was located Tuesday morning. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Recently, I met with 3 different owners of homes who had the same problem. They wanted to sell their house quick and sell it as is for cash. All 3 people were approached by different investors that said they had cash for their home, signed contracts, only to find out they were not personally going to buy their homes, but to find a buyer willing to pay more than they offered and pocket the difference. It's called wholesaling. Offer a contract to buy a house at a certain price, up to price to other buyers, and pocket the difference. I urge you, don't fall for it. You want to sell your home quick, use a licensed professional realtor, as I have been for 48 years, keeping promises to get homes sold quick. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. Did you know the current national average turn time to close on a mortgage is 48 business days? But not at Alabama Home Mortgage. At Alabama Home Mortgage, our average close time is 16 business days. That's a month faster than the rest. How do we do it? With over 60 years of combined experience in the industry. Our team knows mortgages. Our years of experience yield a better experience for our customers. Folks, time is money. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, don't waste time with another mortgage company, bank, or credit union. We close on time, every time. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our fast turn time is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is the Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here. A beautiful day out of Montgomery, Alabama. Telling you what, they betrayed Elon. Now maybe it's not permanent. Maybe it's not a full thing. Maybe the DOGE cuts will be realized. The DOGE will be unleashed. But for now, The GOP up in Washington has betrayed Elon Musk and anybody who cared about what he was up to. Apparently, also, J.D. Vance just got done speaking at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. We'll bring you that speech and clips of that speech a little later in the program. And a lot of different companies jumping in on the Bitcoin train. A lot of corporate, publicly traded companies using Bitcoin more and more as a treasury. You also have, of course, Trump offering Canada a free golden dome if they become the 51st state. A majority of Americans now say they're on the right track for the first time in Rasmussen polling history. Looks like Pete Hegseth was told to put his fingerprints on the knife that stabbed his friends in the back after he fired them all. Crazy. But, of course, here in Alabama, the top story is that Coach, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville, is leaving Washington, D.C. for Montgomery. He is running for governor. It's official now. Joining us to talk about that and much more, we have Jeff Poor. Jeff, how you doing today, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. So you were at the announcement yesterday, I believe.
I was not a big gathering, but not a small gathering either. I mean, it wasn't like Ainsworth, like helicoptering in country music acts, and but it was probably on brand for Tommy Tuberville, I suspect.
And I believe you also had the opportunity to speak to him on your program this morning.
I did, and I mean, he's not bad. He's much further along than I thought he would be. And you know, Alabama politics and the issues and the things here are very difficult. It took me 20 years to figure them out. Now, I mean, I wasn't exactly on the fast track figuring it out over the years, but he seems to kind of get it. Prisons, highways, education. This says some interesting things. Said, on roads, like we need to start building new roads to stop putting asphalt on top of existing roads, expand capacity. Was a little harsh, surprisingly, on higher ed. That's not where the focus needed to be. Agree or disagree with him on those issues, and at least he's kind of, it's not just, hey, I'm the most Trumpy guy of the Trump supporters, vote for me. It is a little more steeped in what's relevant to Alabama politics.
Well, and I'm looking at the op-ed y'all published at 1819news.com from Coach, and it looks like he wants to increase school choice, which I think is fantastic. It's almost a small signal, at least, that he might be taking on the AEA, and they're still their presence. It still remains, sadly.
It does, and then they've been in an impediment the whole way, and then they finally, the legislature took a kick and screaming to where we are today. But there's still a lot of there's still a lot of people in the state that want school choice that aren't getting it. So it polls real well. I don't know how viable it is. I mean, just in some places, the place I always talk about, Joey, about school choice, Covington County, in kind of in South Alabama, almost Wiregrass. They have 3 school systems: Opp, Andalusia, and the Covington County school system. They have no private schools. Other than, say, for instance, you want to go from a county school to a city school, and that's at the city system's discretion. But you can't put your child, it's just not logistically possible to put your child in a private school. Right. And I suspect that's true for other places around the state.
Yeah, and I'd imagine you could still do homeschooling, but that depends on obviously what your professional life, what the job that you probably have requires. So I'd imagine what Tuberville and anybody with school choice is getting at is you don't completely get rid of the traditional public schools. You just expand, and you see how popular the Choose Act was. I believe it was more popular than they expected.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Something tells me that they were kind of lowballed there or sandbagging there a little bit with the popularity. But we knew. I mean, Joey, you've been in the radio business. Is in some capacity. How long has conservative talk radio been on the school choice bandwagon in this state?
Yeah. At least for over a decade, if not 2. Did you did you happen to bring up any the evergreen stuff with him, like gambling?
No, but I'll say this. One of the he did a press gaggle after his announcement, and I think it was Elizabeth White, WRBL in Columbus, Georgia, asked him, "What about a lottery?" And his response was, he put it all in the legislature to do, which maybe that's the right response, but he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either.
Well, I know it's early, and I guess just setting the scene, this was at a barbecue joint in Auburn, and it was on the Will Kane show, but it looked like it was a pretty good crowd there, a lot of faithful, and I already like the branding. The coach hats look pretty all right.
Well, I tell you this, one thing that surprised me, and maybe this is on brand for what they're trying to, the sort of the branding of the Tuberville campaign. There was one lawmaker there out of 140. One lawmaker made the trip, and he wasn't a local guy. If that had been Will Ainsworth yesterday, the entire legislature, even some Democrats might have even been there. I don't know. And they may have not been invited. It wasn't a very highly publicized event. You just had to be in the know to know where it was going to happen. But I'm kind of waiting to see who, keeping score here. This isn't him running for Senate. This is governor. This is your, you got to interact with the executive branch if you're in the legislature. Who's getting on the Tommy Tuberville bandwagon so far? Arnold Mooney, he was the one lawmaker there, and then I think I've seen Jamie Keel from Russellville and Ernie Arborough from Lawrence County get on board. I suspect others are coming. I think Stadhagen's going to jump on board today in some capacity, but that's what I'm waiting to see. Like, who in Alabama government is going to be hitched their wagon to the Tommy Tuberville train? Well,
and there might be some favor in you getting in there early. I mean, I know Yarborough and I know Mooney in particular, and their heart. Mooney's a great libertarian conservative, and Yarborough's as conservative as they come here by Alabama standards. So if Stadhagen's jumping on, I think that will create a bandwagon effect, and hopefully we'll see. But this, of course, creates a huge, wide open Senate race for Tuberville's vacated seat when his term is up. We already are seeing what Jarrett Hudson has announced. He is a former Navy SEAL. I know he's done a lot of work helping folks rehabilitate, very Christian identity forward, very well spoken. I mean, he's now in the race, and I imagine a few others are going to jump in too.
I think so. The names I'm hearing, I think obviously Steve Marshall is a lock. And we're just waiting on some kind of formal official announcement. The name is really interesting to me right now. Dale Strong from the 5th Congressional District, I think is poised to get in that race too. There will be a few others, but the two big names I'm looking at right now are Steve Marshall and Dale Strong.
And then I guess we got a headline, Barry Moore considering it, and he, I believe, gave y'all the same answer he gave me a few weeks back, that he's praying about it. So that's not really
praying about it, and I don't know how serious that is. I do know it's on the radar. Same with Bruce Pearl.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen any, and the reason I don't bring those two up is I've actually hearing from people, and they're kind of shopping around for consultants and staff and guys like that, but I haven't heard any of that kind of buzz about Barry Moore or Bruce Pearl.
Could Bruce Pearl remain the coach of Auburn Tigers basketball and be a senator? Can we have a senator coach as well?
Well, senator coach, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's any blurred ethical lines, does it?
No, I wonder what he thinks about Israel and Palestine. Oh wait, I think we know.
Yeah. In his credit, he's outspoken on that stuff in a very difficult world. Higher education, academia is wildly left wing. The faculty lounge is damn near authoritarian communist in their political views. There is kind of a refreshing degree of courage there. Bruce Pearl to do that.
Now, and I'm just thinking that we're going to get a lot of names jumping into this open Senate seat, not even expecting to win, more just getting their name out there, letting people get to know them in the cycle. It could be, as we're seeing around the nation, the tendency of it's more of a young man and young woman's game. If you got the money, you got a well-spoken, delivery, you have quite the following, you build up online. Doesn't even matter if you win necessarily. It's just a fun race to go and run in.
Well, I tell you, and something else happened yesterday. They got overshadowed by the Tuberville news. Michael Kavanaugh stepping down from her PSC chairwomanship to be working the Trump administration. That would eliminate her, I would suspect, from the lieutenant governor's race. And then the name, I am told, is going to fill that seat. It's just pending an announcement. It's Caroline Dobson.
Oh, wow.
Someone who falls in that category that she could self-finance. She may be off the table, too. So all of a sudden that picture's starting to clear up. But you have some I think a wide open lieutenant governor's race with just the one name, Wes Allen. I know Dean Odell is declared, but I don't know that he could get on the Republican ballot since he was a write-in candidate for governor in the last cycle in 22. So you look and you have to think, Secretary of State, is Sorrell going to coast to this? There's a lot of possibilities here.
Now, where does the GOP chairman, the Alabama GOP chairman, John Wall, end up landing?
We're talking about lieutenant governor, but I don't know. I don't know if that's cooled off a little bit, given the controversies, and I don't think they're legitimate controversies, but it makes it a lot harder. Like somebody sabotaged his campaign, before it got out of the gate. So I can see lieutenant governor, but I can see him running. I mean, I don't think he'll run for auditor or run for Secretary of State. Would he run for Senate? That might be kind of a fool's errand, but I don't know. His stock has cooled off a little.
Then before I forget, circling back to Tuberville's announcement, I saw you posted about it. Saw Brent Buchanan of Signal posting about it, that the Democratic Party here in Alabama is drunk. We're going to label and brand Tuberville a Florida man and take him to use lawfare to bring him down before he even gets started. To me, this seems to just signal the utter impotence and impotent signaling of the Democrats in this state at this point.
There is no way in Alabama with a elected Supreme Court, all Republican, that they're going to get him disqualified from the ballot. To me, number one, if there really was an opening there, someone else would have exploited on the Republican side. Okay. Yep. And they still may. We're very early here, but it doesn't look like there are very many Republican takers. The big name, Will Ainsworth, I think, looked at this really, really hard, and that probably had some very good lawyers look at it as well. But, at the end of the day, it goes all the way to the Alabama Supreme Court, and I don't see the Alabama Supreme Court ruling against Tommy Tuberville.
Well, and I just love, I think also AL.com did something about how Tuberville, it's like Russian-style democracy. Yet, real democracy is us using lawfare to, pad some lawyers' pockets and maybe pull off a Hail Mary here and disqualify.
No. Real democracy would be having a viable Democratic Party and having an alternative here, Kyle Whitmire. It's not up to state leadership or incumbent on the Republican Party to see to it that Democrats can field a candidate that could get more than 25% of the vote. So he could gripe and whine, but he's, for all intents and purposes, in the context of this discussion, is a big player in Alabama Democratic Party politics, and they can't even tie their own shoelaces. So it's on you guys to produce whatever you think is the legitimate opposition to Tommy Tuberville. Don't expect Republicans to do your work for you.
Well, and it's just amazing. It's something that's happening on the national level, too. Real democracy is a bunch of elitists who don't really like the people and their institutions picking and choosing who runs the government. Yeah, populism is this dangerous authoritarian thing when somebody's really popular with the actual people.
They will Plato's Republic in Alabama or something where you have a bunch of philosopher kings kind of calling the shots and a caste system to sort of run society. These overeducated elites, and Whitmire's fighting the world dumb, by the way. kind of a
Still?
pseudo-intellectual here. Yeah, I still fight the world dumb. I don't know how that's going for him.
Well, I have unplumbed depths of dumb myself, so he's gonna have a fight on his hands for years to come if I stay at Alabama Media, because I can be so dumb.
What is anything in AL.com? When was the last time something in AL.com moved the needle?
I don't know. For me personally, you're asking the wrong guy, because I only really stick to 1819 and some conservative media. I don't ever look at AL.com. I don't look at Political Reporter unless somebody sends it to me. I'll look at it, but it's not part of my daily routine. I just let them do what they're going to do and whatever.
I'll say this about those guys. Like they could, if they wanted to, but I watch these guys and it's more emblematic sort of in the legislature, the way they handle that. They sit there in the press gallery and they sort of just jot notes from what's going on the floor. No Republican of relevance trust any of the reporters at AL.com. They don't really talk to the AL.com reporters. These guys are not well connected. They don't have sources, but they don't work to get those sources. They just go along with the left-wing diatribes, Joey. And the problem with that is, you do that and you're going to freeze out. Republicans are just not going to trust you. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to tell you things, and you're not going to be able to report on them.
Right. And I mean, the only time I see more, say, left-leaning press is where I agree with them is more local stuff in Montgomery sometimes, like the mess of a school board we have. But when it comes to state or national stuff, I find that I don't miss much by just ignoring them.
But even like the Advertiser, right? I mean, it's just you have the Gadsden Times, the Tuscaloosa News, and the Montgomery Advertiser are all essentially the same newspaper now. You don't even have that. There's not even a good job at the local level. It's hard, and I'm gonna say it is expensive,
yes,
and it's hard to do news gathering. You can't just bring in an entry level, fresh out of J school graduate and expect them to do a good job. Somebody who hasn't been here but 5 minutes to have sources and talk to people and understand the lay of the land. But I think these guys, by having a political agenda that overwhelms everything, they put themselves even further behind the eight ball in trying to be like a news gathering operation and cover the things that are important, other than Trump sucks. But it's too small potatoes to talk about the Montgomery County Commission.
Oh yeah, no, and I've got an uncle who just retired from the business. He worked multiple editors' desk at the Orlando Sentinel for years. Actually got his start at the Montgomery Advertiser out of Auburn, and he's as lib as they come. But he's told me how the deterioration, the atrophying of the business. It used to be, as him sitting as editor, he had 2 or 3 investigative reporters that were maybe doing 2, 3, but very thorough stories a year, and then you had your daily kind of desk and what was topical, and it became like they brought all these young guns in, and it's like, how do we get clicks so we get subscriptions? And it just completely changed the model of what it used to be. And I think everybody's still trying to adapt to this technological revolution.
Yeah, I think it's technology, but I also think you can't ignore the political component,
right?
And in a state that is as red as it is, where your customers are going to be majority Republican voters, you can't demean them. You can't talk down to them. You can't belittle them. It's just, there's no market for that. No one's going to subscribe to your terrible newspaper if all they see in the pages of that newspaper is just attacks on how stupid the voters are in this state.
Right. Or another reminder of the victories of the civil rights movement, which is how long ago now? Not that.
Yeah, that's like the calling card. How many times can we do an Edmund Pettus Bridge, retrospective? That's not, that might be important to those guys, but the customers in the state are kind of looking like the here and now, not what the 20-something-year-old J school graduate thinks of the Alabama legislature's abortion ban or whatever.
Now, while I'm thinking about this, I'll let you go after this. The SPLC labeled Charlie Kirk's Turning Point group as a hate group, like college and high school kids, right next to the KKK and neo-Nazis. What?
Oh, I looked at their hate. They have a hate map, Joey. You got to see this. It's fantastic. Yeah. Eagle Forum, our friend Becky Garrettson. The Moms for Liberty, all 5 of them in Madison County and Baldwin County. I mean, they put them right next to those white supremacists that deserve to be boycotted.
It's crazy. And I think, again, that's another failing business model. It doesn't have the same oomph that it maybe once did even 10 years ago.
And they're enabled by corporations who still, I guess, are kind of dining off an old legacy, Joey.
Yeah.
Who, the Procter & Gamble, Kellogg cereal types who bankroll these organizations. And they're victims of extortion. Hey, you probably want to write us a check and make us possible, or we may have to kind of look at your DEI practices.
Oh, what a mess. Part of me doesn't want to see the, say, Democrat element here resurgent, but I think competition wouldn't be the worst thing. The point you made about it's on them to actually feel good candidates, to have a good message, that's 100% true. And we'll see if they ever find their way out of the wilderness. I always appreciate your time, Jeff. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, think about, talking about, how can they do so?
X.com/Jeff_Poor.
Appreciate it as always. Do it again next week, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Again, that is Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show, also editor-in-chief there at 1819news.com. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services and their Pest Pro. Ashley and that fantastic team, truly great folks over there at Pest Pro. They are ready to help you with any and all of your pest control needs. It's really, they get you on like a monthly subscription and plan. That way they're coming out regular schedule for basic pest control needs and basic maintenance. They can also add to that termite protection and inspections, where you have that year-round protection and that annual inspection. And of course, they can also help you with those mosquitoes, which are, man, they're at their height. Especially with all this rain that's been coming at night, and then it starts warming up and all the humidity, mosquitoes love it. So if you actually want to enjoy your property, enjoy your backyard or the front porch, like you spend all this money to make it look nice, maybe you got a pool and you're trying to relax after, say, a dinner, and you're getting eaten up by all these nasty skeeters. Why not have Pest Pro come out, get you on a plan? And it's not like they just show up once, so you got to hassle them to come back out. No, they get you on a regular schedule. I believe they visit 8 times a year at peak mosquito season. So y'all check out Pest Pro Services today. You can always learn more, study them up yourself at ppsriverregion.com, or just look up Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces, very active Facebook page there they have. And of course, you can always call them direct, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Gordon Ramsay always leaves you wanting seconds. So Fox Tonight, you can have them. It starts with a new MasterChef dynamic duos as the auditions heat up.
Oh, 2 cooks better than 1.
Then, America can't stop spying on Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service.
I've got this restaurant under surveillance.
Where Gordon goes deep undercover.
That is one fat rat. I'm going in.
To save struggling restaurants.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Tonight on Fox 20.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Hey, this is Robbie Clark. Stay cool with a spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give us a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas weather.
Hi, everybody. We are still in May, but we're into very much a June weather pattern. Lots of humidity, and we'll be in and out of the clouds at times today, with showers and thunderstorms becoming a good bet, especially in the afternoon and evening hours, fading out at night. And once again, from the Storm Prediction Center, a marginal severe weather risk today and tomorrow. Damaging wind gusts would be the main threat. High temperatures will be in the 80s today, depending on the amount of sunshine. Lows tonight down to around 70, and showers and storms are also likely on Friday as a front approaches. We're expecting some much nicer air by Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Once again, 334-272-9228. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Dennis, who's been very patient. Hey, Dennis, how you doing?
Joey, no time, no talk. How you been doing?
I'm great. Life's good.
Well, this Senate race is going to get interesting now, ain't it, man? I tell you, do you see any other dark horse candidates throwing their hat in the ring that's got some money that might want to toss their head in the ring if you had to bet money on it right now?
Not off the top of my head. I was a little surprised by this the Jared Hudson announcement so early, and I think this guy could truly be a dark horse. I'll just be blunt. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's a good-looking fella. He's a smart fella. He's also founded Covenant Rescue Group, which is a combating human trafficking and child exploitation. Like, you read this guy's CV and then you hear him and you're like, well, if he's got the money, he could easily surprise people.
Yeah, I just wondered about that. You know, Tuberville run for governor looks like he's pretty unopposed. How do you feel about that personally, Joey? Seems like we haven't had a competitive governor's race since 2010.
I want one. I've been saying that in writing and on the radio, but I think there are a lot of people that look at how strong Tuberville's name is here, and they're like, why waste the money?
Yeah, that's true. I think the other races is the Attorney General and Lieutenant Governor races coming up. You know, you're going to have a bunch of people running for those two offices, too.
Oh, absolutely. And, we'll see how it all shakes out. With Will Ainsworth essentially retiring for politics for the time being, which I think is a smart move on his part, just for all sorts of good, more personal family reasons, just spending time with kids. You know, it's kind of a special time when kids are in high school. So Ainsworth's out. John Wall has been talked about, the current GOP chairman. He might run for one of those positions you just mentioned. The current person working right under Steve Marshall, Catherine Robertson, will be very strong running for AG. John Merrill has been putting feelers out there. Maybe he comes back into Alabama politics.
There's other guy running for Attorney General named, he resigned for the Supreme Court. We're not Ken. Jay Mitchell's running. Yeah. And the DA from Blunt County, dark horse, keep your eye on Pamela Casey. So keep your eye on her, in my opinion. So,
I've not met Pamela. I've met
Where's
Jay.
Eddie at today?
Where's Eddie?
Yeah, okay. Where's Eddie at?
I think he had some last minute. I mean, you know his motto.
Always be closing.
He had last minute real estate stuff.
Oh, good. Well, if Eddie's listening, I want to tell him to say hey to him and Susanna.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a good day. Thank you, sir.
Great hearing from you, Dennis. 272-9228. Coming up at 1 o'clock, I will not be alone because City Councilman Andrew Szymanski will be joining the program. Plenty to talk about there. I definitely want to talk about the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts and this whole two-board situation and not having an actual governing contract. And then the mayor seems to be usurping some authority there, at least driving it into the ground for reasons that baffle me. We'll get into that. Also, the city saying, we're not just going to continue to fork over money to the Whitewater Park. Want to pick Councilor Szymanski's brain about that. I also talk about some business licensing. Of course, crime is an evergreen issue that we'll continue to discuss, and all sorts of other things that might come up. Y'all get your phones ready at 272-9228 if you have any questions for Andrew Szymanski. And as I look at the national headlines, in particular, I'm seeing a lot when it comes to people saying to the GOP in Congress, stop betraying not just Elon Musk, stop betraying all of us who not only voted for change, but who really were encouraged by Musk in particular. Were excited about what DOGE was doing early on. And it seemed like so many cabinet members were excited about it. And it did seem like some of the Congress was excited, but not enough of y'all. Now, I saw Marjorie Taylor Greene saying they're going to bring some rescission packages to actually implement some of the DOGE cuts on NPR and USAID. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. But this game right now, Elon Musk himself giving an interview saying he's incredibly disappointed. This big, beautiful bill that Trump himself keeps pushing. It's not like, oh, Congress is so bad and Trump's great. No, Trump's the one pushing it. Now, he's, I think, working it at a high level. He just wants the big, beautiful bill to pass whatever's in it, because it's more a branding operation for him, along with the few promises he made on the campaign trail that he wants in there. But y'all cannot betray this guy that spent hundreds of millions of dollars, who put his name and likeness, his companies, his brands on the line, takes all sorts of flack, to put it nicely, and y'all just shrug your shoulders in Congress. This is why folks don't trust y'all. We're all excited during the campaign, all excited on election night, really excited to see DOGE spun up, and now all of a sudden, well, we can't really cut that much, or miserable. Let's go to the phones. Line one, you're on there. Who's this?
I'm Cameron.
Hey, Cameron, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, enjoying your show.
Thank you, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, I've got two quick things. One is I'm excited by what you guys are painting as the potential future right here in Alabama, if Mr. Tuberville gets in. But it makes me think, the gentleman that just spoke was saying, you know, we've got to get in line. After all, Lincoln said it's the government of the people, by the people, right? So we gotta get in there and use our voting rights to get the people lined up to do something.
Yeah, you do have to get the people in order, but I mean, turnout in the state's not been fantastic. And when it comes to Tuberville, this is why Ainsworth got out of the way, and why I don't think anybody with any realistic chance with real money is going to try to challenge it, because they know Tuberville's name ID is the strongest I think I've ever seen. Unless they have some incredible Oppo research and are willing to, pay for a Hail Mary pass, I just don't see anybody in the GOP challenging the guy.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I wanted to draw your attention to something, if you have a second.
Sure.
The Assistant Attorney General recently interpreted Trump's what he had written out as executive orders to a marching order for her own division, and a huge number of lawyers resigned.
Yeah. This is Heartmeet Dillon in the Civil Rights
sir.
Division, right?
Yes, sir. But I was encouraged. I'm an American by heritage. I was born overseas, but my mom and dad are both Americans.
Yeah.
I was so encouraged by the way she spoke on that interview. And if all these ducks get in a row, if the Republicans of all rank get in line, I really believe the future is exciting. Because she was very straightforward and direct in talking about civil rights, and that's the for the people part.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we'll see. A lot of these careers, a lot of the career bureaucrats don't like these changes, but this is, again, what people voted for. And I think there's a great case to be made, whether you're talking top universities or all sorts of other institutions, that in the name of progress, they've progressed all the way back to violating basic tenets of the Civil Rights Act. They never thought, oh, the shoe might be on the other foot. And they thought it was always a one-way street to correct the historical wrong, not a neutral standard that could be applied to everybody. And to see Heartmeet Dillon driving that train because of Trump's executive order is heartening.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Cameron. Always appreciate the call. Thanks for listening, man. Now, to my point about Elon Musk feeling betrayed, this was a CBS interview where he just came right out and said it. Pretty short clip here. Let's listen in together.
You know, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
And Elon and several other places on X saying, I did the best I could. I put myself out there. I tried to help these folks. Maybe if people raise enough hell, they might actually in the Congress follow through. Now, there are many that'll draw the distinction that you can't do rescission in reconciliation, that we're trying to drive the car. Okay, fair enough. But if you don't have these rescission package votes, just stand alone. Have the White House send it to you. Get it done. Make these cuts actually permanent. The work DOGE did within just a month or two is remarkable. It's time for Congress to actually do its job and not just say mañana, mañana, mañana. We'll see. There are a lot of senators now pushing back. Trump also essentially saying, to me, I think it's the branding that he wants. He wants certain things in the big, beautiful bill, but he's not too hung up, sadly, on what exactly is in it in terms of debt and deficits. Here, this just happened this morning, about an hour ago, after the swearing in of Judge Jeanine Pirro as the U.S. attorney. And Trump is asked about the big, beautiful bill by a guy who were reporters there in the Oval Office. Let's listen into this together.
In an interview, criticized the one big, beautiful bill, saying he was disappointed it didn't cut enough, essentially, that it undercut the DOGE efforts. What's your reaction to that?
Well, the reaction's a lot of things. Number one, we have to get a lot of votes. We can't be cutting. We need to get a lot of support, and we have a lot of support. We had to get it through the House. The House was. We have no Democrats. If it's up to the Democrats, they'll take the 65% increase. If that doesn't get approved, this country is going to have a 65% increase in taxes and lots of other problems, big problems, almost bigger than that. But we'll have a 65% increase as opposed to the largest tax cut in the history of our country. We will be negotiating that bill, and I'm not happy about certain aspects of it, but I'm thrilled by other aspects of it. That's the way they go. It's very big. It's the big, beautiful bill, but the beautiful is because of all of the things we have. The biggest thing being, I would say, the the level of tax cutting that we're going to be doing. We're going to make people really be able to, we'll have the lowest tax rate we've ever had in the history of our country, and tremendous amounts of benefit are going to the middle income people of our country, low and middle income people of our country. So we're going to see what happens, because the Senate, as you know, is negotiating with us, and they have to then go back to the House, and, you know, it's got a way to go. But I have to say, Speaker Johnson and Thune have done an incredible job. John Thune has done a fantastic job, and they're working together with me and others. And I think we have an amazing, if we pull this off, remember, we have 0 Democrat votes because they're bad people. There's something wrong with them. You know, they'll let people pour into our country. Single biggest problem is we had 21 million people pour into our country, probably higher than that. And they're people that weren't supposed to be here. And many of those people are bad. Murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They were closing mental institutions all over the world, not South America, all over the world. They're coming into our country, and we're getting them out. And we're having a hard time because some judges aren't making it very easy for us, and it's tough enough. They approved that. They allowed that to happen to our country. We don't have one Democrat vote. And if I were a Democrat, I'd be voting for this bill, and I'd get elected to any position I want as a Democrat. They're crazy. They're voting for a 65% tax increase. And they're only doing it for hatred. They're not doing it for any reason. They know it's terrible politics, in my opinion. But so we have no Democrat votes. That means we have to get almost all Republican votes. And I think we're very close to doing that. I think it'll be very successful. Yeah, please.
And again, there's a way to salvage this, to bring people back to the table. He's being very practical, very common sense there. You got to get the votes, obviously. It's just, it's too many times, too far. It's Lucy and Charlie Brown with the frickin' football all over again. These folks talk a big game. I mean, the GOP, they talk a big game. And yet when it comes time to actually do things that change this government and work for this country for the better, they balk at it. And often it's folks you don't really even know their names. They're creatures of the system. Their face is not all over TV. Their name is not on the line. They're serving certain concentrated interests. And they could really give a damn what Trump ran on or what Elon Musk promised on Trump's campaign trail. They're going to look out for theirs and their own. And maybe it should be a wake-up call to everybody in politics who watches this, who cares about this, who thought this time, sure enough, it's going to happen. Well, no, the swamp is still the swamp. Like I keep saying, we're still in the middle of all this. In the middle of the negotiations. But whatever process, cute little process y'all come up with, you better not muzzle and betray DOGE. It's a bridge too far. We'll see if they're actually listening to the people, because I'm not the only one saying that. You got a lot of people who agree with this. A lot of people. If y'all instead play the same old Washington games, that ain't going to cut it. Hopefully, the Senate comes up with a bill that makes a little more sense, a process that makes a little more sense. Maybe in good faith, we'll actually see some rescission cuts that implement the DOGE cut through Congress. But for right now, the way a lot of the GOP's talking, y'all ain't loyal. You never were. Certainly not to the people. Just to your own, well, whichever way you think the wind is blowing after you lick your finger or something. Ew. Hey, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting, and they're at River Region Contracting. Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you out with that roof of yours. Now, you shouldn't have that roof inspected every few years, whether it's an asphalt shingle roof or a metal roof. But why not? Especially with like how the weather is always changing here. We get those rip-roaring storms rolling through. Why not get it checked out, that roof of yours, every year? Do it on an annual basis at least. And the great news is they're at River Region Contracting. Their inspections are always free. Free. Always free. And their estimates are always free. So if they do find an issue, they'll write it up, tell you exactly how much it's going to cost to fix it, and they'll get the job done, explain exactly what they're doing to fix the problem. And of course, they're also insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that claims process, which you might be worried about, and make it a swift and easy experience. This is, again, River Region Contracting. They're not associated with any other roofing company here in the area. They are the premier roofing contractor here in the River Region. Call up Todd Clark and his team today at 356-8635. That's 356-8635. Be sure to tell them Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Let's face it, what our customers say about our business is the most important advertising tool. Here at Adams Drugs, we love our customers. We're here with Al and Amy Steinecker, Adams Drugs customers. Amy, please tell us how easy it was to transfer your prescriptions to Adams Drugs from the big box store.
It was one of the easiest things I've ever done. I went into the pharmacy on Bond Road and spoke with the pharmacist and told him we had not been happy where we'd been and would love to transfer our prescriptions. And he said, I'll be happy to call them. And that was that. And now when I call, I just say I need to have a prescription filled, and it's just that simple.
Al, what has your customer service been like at Adams Drugs?
It's amazing. You walk in, you're not standing in a line. They speak to you, call you by name, and say, what do you need today, Al or Mr. Steinecker? It's wonderful. It doesn't get any better.
Please come into any Adams Drugs location and let us earn your business. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ben. If your vehicle has seen better days, fear not, help is on the way. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express has added a professional detail shop. Specialized techniques and products are used to get your vehicle back to showroom shape. Hand washing, waxing, stain removal, odor removal, shampooing, minor scratch removal, and more. Mr. Ben's Auto Spa Express, next to Fraser Church on the Atlanta Highway. Come by for a free estimate. Look like you've been to Mr. Ben's.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice, News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing?
Hey, Joey, having a great week so far. It was nice to get a 3-day weekend. How about you?
Oh, very good, relaxing weekend. I didn't do much of anything. I played a lot of music with myself and made some stuff. So that's always a good, relaxing weekend for me. And on top of my mind, I think later in the show in the last hour, I'm going to be playing JD Vance spoke at this Las Vegas Bitcoin conference. And it does seem like the White House is fully bought in. You're seeing a lot of moves by even some publicly traded companies of buying this stuff up. What's your sense of the Bitcoin moment at this point here in 2025?
Yeah, so you and I have been talking about Bitcoin for quite a while, and the general thought is it is a legitimate asset class. It is a finite, I don't know if I would call it resource, but it is a finite currency, and it can be used effectively to diversify a portfolio, whether that is a treasury or, cash balance of a publicly traded company. And, maybe even more in tune with the current market dynamic is a hedge against inflation. Historically, you're going to see finite resources used as a hedge against inflation. Think gold is probably the easiest one to point to. But, since there's only a limited amount of gold in the world, that's always been a safe haven when the value of currency starts to shift, particularly with inflation. So since Bitcoin is somewhat removed from that, it is a finite currency, kind of like gold is a finite resource. I think you're seeing more legitimate sovereign nations, publicly traded companies, and wealthy individuals begin to take a step in that direction. It's been around a long time now, and I think that the government is trying to grapple with regulation, less so on tracking it and more so on taxing it. I think that's their priority, if I had to guess. But, even in the last week, you've seen the market tear higher, and over the weekend, Trump, I think, has pushed back his EU tariffs till July 9th. I think he was set to impose those on June 1st. When he eased up on that, the market was ripping higher. But all of the names that typically appreciate in value with inflation scare have gone up. So it doesn't surprise me that Bitcoin is on a tear too. But if you look at steel, copper, silver, uranium, all of these finite resources have gone up dramatically over the last, just couple of days, but even weeks. And I think it is an indication that inflation is still a scare in some people's minds. They are fleeing to these areas. It'll be interesting to see how the Fed plays it because, rate cutting right now probably isn't in the near term future. So, Bitcoin in general is an asset class here to stay, used as a hedge against inflation and diversifying portfolios. So I think you're going to hear it a lot more, and I'm happy to continue to discuss it.
Oh, awesome. Well, and I got to hit my top of the hour break, but for folks that want to work with you all there at Invista Advisors, let's just remind them this is not just about like investments. That's part of a holistic plan, but y'all are really customizing a plan to a particular person, a particular client on how they want to, preserve their long-term wealth or just plan out their wealth strategy going forward in life.
That's right. We're planning forward. If you need a plan and have never put a professional financial plan in place, come see us, and then we can talk investments once we have a plan. That's absolutely right.
And the number is still 387-0094. Folks want to get in touch with you?
That's us.
Well, I appreciate it as always, Austin. And again, folks, y'all call them up, 387-0094. Be sure to say, hey, I heard Austin Branco on with Joey Clark and want to start the conversation here. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Joe.
Again, that's Austin Branco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Trump says he's told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to hold off on an Iran strike to give his administration more time to push for a new nuclear deal with Tehran. The head of the UN atomic watchdog says that the jury is still out on negotiations between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's nuclear program. But Rafael Mariano Grossi described the continuing negotiations as a good sign. Grossi is Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has pledged to help Ukraine develop its own long-range missile systems that would be free of any Western-imposed limitations on their range and target options. On Wall Street, the Dow dropping 92 points, the NASDAQ Composite down 1 point. This is SRN News.
Dennis Prager here. You've heard me say that the more you appreciate what you have, the happier you will be. I also think you need to protect what you have. Did you know that last year, 1 in 10 Americans was targeted for real estate fraud? Imagine waking up one morning to find that all of your hard-earned equity has been stolen. There's a company that I endorse that stops these crimes from happening to you. That company is Equity Protect. And the truth is, if you own your own home, mortgage-free, or you have high equity, you should have Equity Protect. Right now, Equity Protect is offering my listeners a great deal, 30% off your first year. Just go to equityprotect.com/Prager. That's equityprotect.com/Prager. Use the discount code Prager30. Once you have Equity Protect, you don't even need to check. You can trust the team at Equity.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. We are still in May, but we're into very much a June weather pattern with lots of humidity, and we'll be in and out of the clouds at times today, with showers and thunderstorms becoming a good bet, especially in the afternoon and evening hours, fading out at night. And once again, for the Storm Prediction Center, a marginal severe weather risk today and tomorrow. Damaging wind gusts would be the main threat. High temperatures will be in the 80s today, depending on the amount of sunshine. Lows tonight down to around 70, and showers and storms are also likely on Friday as a front approaches. We're expecting some much nicer air by Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More is your low price leader for everything you need for flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies. For the best prices on luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, flooring installation supplies, and more, shop Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. It's official. Senator Tommy Tuberville is running for governor of Alabama next year. Tuberville made the announcement at a restaurant in Auburn Tuesday afternoon. Tuberville listed bringing manufacturing jobs back, cracking down on illegal immigration, and improving education as some of his top priorities. 2 women have been arrested and charged in connection to a 2-vehicle hit and run that left 1 pedestrian dead and a second critically injured. The crash happened Saturday night in the 900 block of East South Boulevard. 28-year-old Kiona Jarrett and 34-year-old Deandra Williams are each charged with leaving the scene of an accident involving injury or death. A bizarre traffic accident kicked off Memorial Day for a Montgomery County man. First responders were called to Wares Ferry Road near I-85 early Monday morning, where a driver had struck an alligator as it was crossing the road. The driver received only minor injuries, but their vehicle was totaled. The alligator was pronounced dead at the scene. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Hello, this is Pam with All About the Bounce. We have been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for a little over a month now and have seen great results. Thank you, Blue Water, for helping us to bring the bounce to more customers across the river region. Radio advertisement is definitely the best advertisement.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Since 1966, Alabama Sheriff's Youth Ranches has been more than just a place to stay. It's been a place to belong. For children facing hardships through no fault of their own, our ranches provide more than shelter. We offer a warm home, a loving family, and a future filled with hope. With open arms, we welcome these young hearts, giving them the love, structure, and guidance they need to heal, grow, and thrive in a warm Christian environment. Together, we can give Alabama's children the chance they deserve, a chance to dream, to succeed, and to feel truly cherished. Every donation stays within Alabama, directly impacting the lives of the children who need it most. Join us in making a difference. Visit AlabamaSheriff'sYouthRanches.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and download our app from your app store. We'd be honored to have you as a part of our mission to lift up Alabama's youth. And remember this, it's easier to build boys and girls than to repair men and women.
Hey, Biscuits fans, it's the voice of the Biscuits, Jack Sadiq, and reminding you to come out to Riverwalk Stadium for one of our T-shirt giveaways on Thursday nights. We've got great Gatsby T-shirts, retro T-shirts, college T-shirts, Hawaiian T-shirts, all kinds of T-shirts to give out. Don't miss your chance for one of our exclusive T-shirt giveaways. For more information on specific shirt giveaways, visit biscuitsbaseball.com or call the box office at 323-BALL.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or as we call this show online, Joey Clark Live. And as promised, we have here in the studio with me, Counselor Andrew Szymanski. How you doing today?
I am doing well. It's a beautiful day outside today.
Yeah, good to see you, man. And it is beautiful, though. We keep getting this like intermittent rain bands that keep running through, and I'm like, is it going to be a nice day or is it just going to be nasty?
Yeah, no, it was a nice day, actually. I just got done having lunch over at Eddie's at Montgomery Whitewater, and hopefully the weather will hold off tonight. The Montgomery United soccer team has a game tonight out at Emery Fulmer, so at 7:00. So hopefully I get to enjoy this brief break of
Now, do you play or you just watch?
No. It's Montgomery's first ever semi-professional soccer team.
Okay.
I'm a big supporter of theirs, and they have their second home game tonight. They've got players from Brazil and England and Ireland, and it's the same league that the Birmingham Legion started in, and so brings a lot of promise for Montgomery.
Well, my brother, if he was here, would probably be joining. He's a big soccer guy. He's a big Liverpool fan.
Okay.
And he's been taking his daughter, my niece Lucy, to like the big Liverpool bar in Greenville, South Carolina. And everybody at the bar is like, she is the goal baby. She's the good luck baby. And he just sent me a photo where it's like the Lion King. It's the whole crowd and he's holding the baby up. And they're like, because I guess Liverpool just won it this year.
They did. They just on Sunday. I watched it. Yeah. It was a big year for them. I'm a Chelsea fan, so we finished in the top 4, so we're still going to Europas. But it was fun for the Liverpool fans for sure.
He keeps trying to rope me into it, and I'm like, I'll watch it with him if I'm hanging out with him.
You just gotta find an obscure team and then see and just follow their rise.
Well, my old college roommate was a big Tottenham fan.
Okay,
so
not necessarily obscure. I'm thinking if you'd been like a Nottingham Forest fan 10 years ago, like where they're at right now, you'd be like having the time of your life. So.
Well, you mentioned having lunch over there at the Whitewater Park. It was in the news last week that the council, y'all pretty much said, no, we're not just going to pony up money because y'all asked.
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
Yes. There's a couple things that are going on there, but Whitewater had come to us with asking us basically to amend a funding agreement that we had with the cooperative district, because a lot of people don't remember, but the Whitewater is governed by this kind of entity that's known as the Whitewater Cooperative District. So it's not just that property; it's some of the surrounding properties as well that were brought into this big envelope of land to do the project. And when we agreed to do Montgomery Whitewater and all the entities came together, one of the things that we had was an annual funding agreement, $250,000, something relatively small in comparison to the city budget. I know $250,000 is a lot of money, but that we would provide that on an annual basis, just towards operating costs like we would with any other kind of quality of life entity that we have here in the city. And for 2 years, apparently that was never collected. The city never got billed for it. There's some question about whether or not, because we did do a larger infusion of capital at one point, if that kind of null and voided the need to do that. But obviously, as they're trying to ramp up their operations and coming into what I guess would be their third year now of full operation, or maybe second year. Now I can't even remember. But I think it's third year. But they just had a need for a capital infusion. They did the ropes course out there. They just got the trails that are down by the river itself taken care of. So they wanted us to pay those 2 years to them, $500,000. Our agreement is for $250,000, and so we're having to discuss whether or not we amend that agreement to allow us to, as we've already paid the $250,000 this year, to pay essentially what could be called as back pay or just an infusion of capital into their operations.
Now, I mean, how are they doing in terms of it doesn't need to be the most kick butt profitable thing in the world, but it would be nice to be at least at cost.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's maybe the biggest debate that I think when I hear from people, because look, we've had this discussion before. We've had people call in and talk about this before. It's really the question is what is that entity and what does it represent and what does it mean for Montgomery? And similar to some other things that we have here, not everything is designed and built to be profitable necessarily, right? Especially for quality of life enhancement things. It's one of the reasons why we get to have a free Museum of Fine Arts. It's one of the reasons why, regardless of whether or not it's profitable, we're infusing $4.5 million into improving the Montgomery Zoo. These types of projects that we have are important to not only the residential quality of life, but we know with Whitewater, one of the main things, and I remind people of this all the time. I was just there for lunch today, and when I was there for brunch maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, Maxwell, it's a key component. What was there previously, and the people that were, the feedback we were getting about crime, blight, the amount of activity that was requiring police down at the old Powder Magazine Park. Whitewater has mitigated a lot of that. And so to me, I think part of the argument is, because people say all the time, why are we funding Whitewater? Well, because we decided to make a world-class investment that was going to set Montgomery apart. And yeah, it's going to take some time. Charlotte, it went through the same process as well. I think that, really we should have had this agreement, should have been heftier and should have been more ongoing. And I also think we could have done a better job in government of explaining some of the things that I think people are not quite understanding about what Whitewater really represents for Montgomery. I spoke to somebody at the chamber just the other day. When we had Meta in town, considering Montgomery as a site for their $850 million data center, those meetings and some of the touring that they did revolved around the Montgomery Whitewater Center. So not to say that it is just about the amount of the number of people going down the water is kind of missing, in my opinion, some of the overall point about what Whitewater can represent for Montgomery. And we don't know what its future holds. I wish more people locally would use it. And I wish that they did a better job of telling their own story and marketing themselves to the hundreds of thousands of people that come down the highway. That's what kind of accountability we're asking for before we just hand this money over. And so this needs to be a stronger and a better partnership.
Well, because the concern could be, again, it doesn't have to be, as you just laid out, there are a lot of, say, nonprofit entities and quality of life things in the city that are being paid for private donations and from city funds. I get that, but it also doesn't need to be a money pit.
Sure.
To where they'll, after you agree, we'll give you $250K a year. They're like hat in hand, like, oh, look, we had this huge, cost overrun. Sorry, the chemical treatment and the running the pumps was more than we expected.
Yeah.
So y'all are more looking for, okay, what is going to be the long-term cost of it?
Yeah, and also being more involved in the process too. I mean, there are certain things that we know are potentially going to really enhance what's over in that area. It's not really a secret anymore, but the idea has been put out there that we are right at the phase now where the hotel partnership will be getting announced, and the cornerstone of it is really not just the water and the restaurant, but it's those other kind of key pieces. You look across the street, the economic impact studies that are showing kind of ways we can use. There's a bunch of abandoned buildings over there. So yes, it doesn't need to be a money pit, and we need to be more involved in the governance and guidance of that facility. That was one of the things that came up was how we get to be more, I guess, how there could be a little bit more transparency and accountability so that we feel good about funding that. We commit, we talked about the Museum of Fine Arts, that just personnel and kind of the operations out there alone, the city budget annually, it's probably about $2.5 million. As I just said, we're doing a massive investment into the zoo, but we also have very tangible ways of overseeing how that money is getting spent and what it's for, the projects, and we want to have a little bit more of that. But I do think that in the end, we all realized that as part of taking and bringing Whitewater to Montgomery was this understanding that it's now there, and it's something that we can still use as a very important tool for a lot of different things.
272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Real quick, you mentioned the improvements to the zoo. I have a lot of memories of attending the zoo, my mom taking me over there, and field trips and all sorts of stuff there at the zoo. So it's been around in Montgomery, and I think a valuable part of Montgomery for a long time. But so what are the improvements?
Yeah, so they're really trying to enhance the visitor experience out there, and so the kind of the simple terms was the front entrance, and somebody said that's a really expensive gate. It's not just a gate; they're moving administrative offices, guest experience offices, and kind of improving the overall intake, so that you really kind of hit with something special as you with family, whatever is walking in there. That kind of ongoing process with the zoo, because it is such a used asset, and especially for families in the town, it's just kind of one of those things where it's the zoo's got some age to it, right? And we want to make sure that we are showing people our level of commitment. So I was excited about that. Amanda has a niece that loves going out there, and I think that giving some people something new to look at, some new experiences when they first arrive is going to be really exciting for that space.
Well, and everything changes over the years. I can remember before, let's say, the habitats were up to snuff. I have memories of like, why is it just that's just a cage that monkey's and that doesn't look very happy. And a lot of improvements have been made over the years, so that makes a lot of sense. And on the Museum of Fine Art, what is the deal with the governing agreement? Now, to my understanding, there's an association board, there's a city board. The city handles more your overhead and maintenance, these things, and the associate board handles, say, curation and artists and whatnot. What is the confusion here? Why the confusion?
Yeah, so the confusion lies in the governance, and if you think about it, there's really three entities at play. You have the association board, as you said, largely owners of the art, curators. They are supporters, fundraisers is a big component of what they do. They also help provide stipends to certain positions over there that so they can get the highest quality of people at the right compensation to come to Montgomery and be a part of this museum. Then you have the city board. That's a 9-member board appointed by the city council. And that is kind of they are the actual oversight of what happens inside the building, the personnel and whatnot. And then you have the city, right? Because museum employees work for the city of Montgomery. They have city benefits and whatnot. And so there is a museum aspect of that, or a city aspect of the oversight of the museum as well. What we've got right now is a disagreement, which was brought to us last July-ish, so about a year ago, where there's some concerns over the way the pre-existing kind of memorandum of understanding was being executed by the association board and by the city board, and kind of who was in charge of different decision-making processes, contracts, all that kind of stuff, procurements. And so throughout this whole process, there's been this idea of we need to redo the governing agreement between the city board and the association board. And what we've kind of stumbled on is really what the terms of that looks like. There's disagreements between the two boards and the city's attorney's office, City Hall. And that's what we've been trying to drive towards. Now, I presented a resolution at the last meeting. It was, I guess, more of an agreement that had been informed by a attorney general's opinion, right? The attorney general got involved back in the fall to give an opinion about the previous agreement, and then also about what kind of things needed to happen to be compliant going forward. The association board, the museum board, both separately and unanimously voted to move a new governing document forward, which I presented at the council. At that meeting, the last council meeting, there was the president of the council had received kind of a counter proposal from the city attorney, and it was his request that the two boards have the opportunity to review those. I think we maybe could have moved the form that they already had agreed upon forward, but in good faith, I said, yeah, well, we'll do this. I know this is kind of last minute, but we'll give ourselves 2 more weeks. And on Tuesday next week, as I said in the last council meeting, look, we all appoint people to boards for a reason. And I take that appointment very seriously because guess what? I'm not an expert in museum management, oversight, governance. I enjoy art museums. And so I nominate somebody to a board who came to me and said, myself and the other 8 members of this board unanimously wanted to move this forward. And we believe that this is in standing and compliant with state law. And I said, okay, I will bring that to the table. What I will do on Tuesday is listen to the recommendation of my city board member. And if they come to me with another unanimous agreement that the newly presented MOU is what they want us to do, or the one that we had originally proposed at the last meeting, that's how I will ask the rest of my council to really follow their conscience and follow the people that are on that board.
And this hurts like day-to-day leadership not having this memorandum of understanding because like we don't have a director right now to be there.
Exactly. And I think even just the role of selecting the director and how that breaks down is part of what's contained in this. And yes, it's made it so that we've not been able to hire a director. Quite frankly, I've had some conversations with some people that are now former employees of the museum who are frustrated by kind of some of the confusion that was out there. The museum has continued on. I want to make that clear. And it's still a wonderful space for people to go. I know that at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that want to see it be successful, but it needs to be what it was set up to be, a world-class museum that has an excellent director at the helm, that has good collaboration from the association, that has a strong city board that oversees it, and support from the city whenever needed. The city of Montgomery, or the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts, is an accredited museum. Only about 10% of the 44,000 art museums in the country have the accreditation level that we have.
Right.
That is super important. It's what allows us to bring in traveling galleries, unique artists. And the other thing that I think is really important about the museum, that is free. We just talked about, things don't need to be a money pit. Well, they are working right now. The fundraising that we get from the association, the financial commitment that we get from the city council, the mayor's office, city hall, in our budget, allows that to be free to everybody, which is unique. Birmingham's museum is not free to my knowledge. And so some of the other accredited world-class art museums are not as accessible. This museum is for everybody because anybody can walk in those front doors.
And before I hit a break, and I'm going to go to some of these calls here again, 272-9228. If you want to get in and hold on, we'll get to y'all who are waiting on all these lines here. Kind of efforts to, I've been hearing word there are certain businesses that are essentially breaking the law. And that's, what do you do with a business that's breaking the law? I guess you revoke a license, right?
Yeah, we can definitely revoke a license. I think one of the things that we saw, and obviously has been part of things I've been talking about at council the last 2 meetings, is what do we do with these people who have found a loophole in our licensing system? And what do you do when you don't have the revenue or the licensing enforcement that we need to have as part of the city? We know that there are certain things the police just can't do, right? And unless we put more restrictions on, and we have to wrap our hands around the licensing process and figure out all the players that have to help us make sure that people, I want as many new businesses to open in the city. I just want them to follow the rules. I want them to actually be the business that they say they are going to be when they get their licenses from us. We've been chasing rental halls, conference centers, all this stuff around, and we have to tell people you cannot come here and get a license for one kind of business. You can't call yourself a conference center, open up at 11 p.m. at night, close at 4 a.m. in the morning, and tell me that you're a conference center.
Wait, so they got a license as a conference center and it's essentially operating as a nightclub?
It's 100%. That's actually more than a nightclub. A nightclub where some people wear less clothing than most nightclubs would allow.
Where is this?
It's over in my district, which is why I was very
No,
angry
you have the
about it.
address? Is there a cover charge?
Trust me when I tell you, there's when you have things like this pop up as a city councilor, all of the people in the neighborhood will make sure you know everything there is to know about these problem places. So I was sent flyers and posters advertising big events, ticketed events, the fact that there was alcohol going to be present at these things. You don't have ladies' night at a conference center. Okay. I know, and that's kind of what we were bringing up here is that this is just another violation and it hurts good businesses.
Yes.
Like at the core of it, it's not just that I don't want there to be vibrant nightlife. I just want people to do it the right way, to get their liquor licenses, to have liquor liability insurance, to make sure that they have health department scores and all of that type of stuff just to protect the public interest. When these things happen, sometimes we are prone to overreact. And when we overreact, like we saw with the hours of operation situation back in December, good business gets hurt.
Well, I hope there's a solution to that because it does sound like there isn't the enforcement arm, though. And it's not like the MPD is going to be doing that.
Well, an MPD can't just, you have to be breaking the law or somebody has to make a call that somebody is breaking the law or that they're being harmed for them to engage. And so one of the things that, we protect the rights of property and business owners, of course. And so, when we have these blanket licenses that are being exploited. I mean, it's been dance studios in the past, as I said, rental halls, event halls, conference centers. There's only so much MPD can do. And right now we just don't have the level of enforcement where our revenue department can go out from that standpoint and shut people down. We can put notices on doors to say cease and desist, but then you get into this kind of gray area of and time, right? I mean, one thing that people realize is I held a business review of this business in question that's operating as Clubhouse 2.0. It's 2.0, mind you, because 1.0 already got shut down because somebody got shot and killed right in front of their front door. And then as soon as we had the business review for Clubhouse 2.0, the following Saturday, what happened right on their doorstep again? Somebody got shot in the face and run over with a car. So we know, but we don't just get to walk out and say, we don't like what you're doing, you're closed. There is a process. There's a due process to that. And that takes some time. So hopefully as we get to dealing with this one particular business, we're also going back and making sure that we close that loophole up so that this can't happen in other places. One thing we have done proactively right now, just to give the police the tools, is we have passed we are passing an ordinance that is going to close all conference centers at 11 p.m. and tell them they can't open up till 5. People say, well, isn't that an hours of operation thing? Well, this license class was opened up in September. We don't have very many people that this is going to affect. And again, we don't really have any reason to believe anybody is really honoring this license type. It's just an exploitive hole.
I mean, people being shot on their doorstep is heinous and one thing, but there can be all sorts of spin-off effects like health. Like it's not like I can call up MPD and be like, hey, I went to this conference center and I didn't use a straw and I think I have herpes now.
Yeah.
Like they're going to ignore me.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of different fallout from this. And then I imagine quality of life around the place.
It's across the street from a staple in the community, Bryant Missionary Baptist Church, as well as St. Paul AME. And, of course. And the other thing that's unfortunate is that it's in the Normandale Shopping Center, which we are trying to make a case for if we can revitalize the Normandale community, bringing real legitimate businesses back there. Nobody wants to open up a storefront when you've got that right down the road and the chaos that comes with it.
Well, let's hit a quick break and we'll field some of these calls again. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
For reliable electrical services in Central Alabama, trust the experts at Crosby Electric. Crosby's licensed and insured electricians are ready to tackle any project for your home, from troubleshooting, repairs, to installing new lighting and preventive maintenance. And Crosby understands the need for quality service for small business. Crosby is big enough for the largest job, yet small enough to bring real value. Visit CrosbyElectric.com to schedule your service. Crosby, powering Central Alabama with excellence.
Business owners everywhere are raving about ZipRecruiter's new feature, Zip Intro. which does the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates to meet with you as soon as the next day. So we decided to call up some of these employers and hear their stories. Today, we're on the phone with Pilates studio owner Crystal M. Harris. Crystal, how has Zip Intro helped you hire?
Well, I was opening a Pilates studio in McDonough, Georgia, and I needed to staff up quickly. Zip Intro did the work for me. It helped me find enthusiastic candidates who matched my qualifications perfectly.
That's great.
Yeah, I had my Zip Intro session on Tuesday, did all the interviews by Thursday, sent out the offers on Friday, and they started on Monday. Because Zip Intro did most of the work, I saved so much time.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, you can try Zip Intro for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, where right now, get a load of this, listen close, you get a house full of carpet for $19.95 installed. Unbelievable. They're located at 6450 Atlanta Highway, just across from Walmart.
Rich Thomas weather.
Hi, everybody. We are still in May, but we're into very much a June weather pattern with lots of humidity, and we'll be in and out of the clouds at times today, with showers and thunderstorms becoming a good bet, especially in the afternoon and evening hours, fading out at night. And once again, for the Storm Prediction Center, a marginal severe weather risk today and tomorrow. Damaging wind gusts would be the main threat. High temperatures will be in the 80s today, depending on the amount of sunshine. Lows tonight down to around 70, and showers and storms are also likely on Friday as a front approaches. We're expecting some much nicer air by Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Jody Pangle with Peaches and Clean. Have you gone with luxury vinyl tile and luxury vinyl planking in your home? Peaches and Clean cleans luxury vinyl tile and planking. Give us a call. We'd love to come look at it and get you an estimate or quote for your cleaning. Check us out at peachesandclean.com.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones. And let's talk to Simpler Days. Hey, Simpler Days, how you doing?
Hey, Councilmember, my old buddy, old pal, Simpler Days calling in to you.
As always, I was actually at lunch before this, and I told some friends I was coming on to the show today, and I was just joking with Joey because I said, I bet you I can name the first 3 people to call in to the show today, and guess what? You were at the top of the list.
Bingo. I don't win anything, but that's good. Anyway, couple of quick things.
Sure.
Number one, before the city gives another dime to the Redwater project, what about doing a forensic audit on the money that's already been spent.
Okay. So that's kind of one of the things that we're talking about is having more involvement in oversight and just having a better financial understanding. I think one of the things that we can go back, and if you want to look at, construction costs, contracts, some of the procurement, if you want to look at equipment and you want to look at some of that stuff, we can definitely do that. And we can find areas where the money that was spent initially, we could have stretched the dollar farther. We could have had better oversight in certain areas. But I think one of the things that we are talking about as this investment goes forward is not just to look backwards, but be more involved and accountable going forward. So I think that a forensic audit in any kind of situation like this, where we're being asked to put in large amounts of money, has its merit. But I don't necessarily think it changes a lot about what position we're in as a city, county, chamber, and state with this project right now.
Well, there's a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayer.
Sure.
And that's what needs to be done. Item number 2 is, I know the mayor's got bigger fish to fry, and I know he's working on things like a new flag for the city, but there was recently an article and there was a piece on one of the news stations about Montgomery losing population in comparative to Selma, and the other cities surrounding are gaining population. Has there been any conversation with the other council members or with the mayor, or is anybody concerned about that?
Well, if you go back to the very first time I was on this show with Joey, it was one of the kind of cornerstone points of my campaign is that from 2010 to 2020, we lost about 10, 11,000 people in the census. And as I keep pointing out to people, those people were not going to Nashville, and they weren't going to, Atlanta, they weren't going to Tampa Bay, or they weren't going to Charlotte. They were going to Prattville, Wetumpka, they were going to Pike Road, they were going to Millbrook. And one of the reasons they were going there, in my opinion, and I trust me, I talked to plenty of my colleagues at these other cities. They're going there because they have been making aggressive investments into the quality of life and the business environment and kind of solving that. What is there to do in those communities? You look at downtown Prattville, you look at the effects and the positive effects that Main Street Wetumpka has had on the city of Wetumpka, the activity that's down there. They're convincing people that you can have a good time and have a vibrant, live in a vibrant place. And that is attracting people outside of Montgomery. And we've got to push back on that and remind people about all the wonderful things that we do have here in this city and why Montgomery can be a great place to live. And then, we're going to have our issues. For sure, we're going to have our issues. But at the same time, we have to understand that the next generation of Montgomery residents are going to be coming here for work opportunities. They're also going to be looking at Montgomery and evaluating its quality of life aspects as well.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me just give you a couple of quick suggestions along that line. We paid a ransom to Alpha to get them to stay. So kind of like NIL deals, name, image, and likeness, why don't we put out the message to potential individuals who want to come to Montgomery and live that we will give you a year free of garbage service. We'll give you a pass to the zoo. We'll give you a wonderful experience for 6 months at the Redwater Park. Some incentives there to get people to come to Montgomery and live.
Yes, but I think we already have the incentives here. We have some of we're one of the most affordable cities in the entire Southeast. We have very low property taxes. Our barrier to entry to being a small business owner is smaller in comparative to other places. I never could have done my small business project with the Hilltop in most of the other cities that I referenced before. We also have those quality of life things. And that's what I think we're trying to make as a kind of positive case statement about Montgomery, is that there are a lot of things that are working in Montgomery's favor in this sphere that can make us competitive. We just have to continue to invest in those things, and then the people, in my opinion, will come behind them.
Well, simpler days. I appreciate the call, man.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Let's go to Soldier Boy.
Hello.
Hi, you're on there.
Hey, Councilman.
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you first utmost. The number one talking point is your transparency. I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And your availability. I can't even say that about my councilman. I'm not going to mention his name. He knows who he is. He only shows up come election time. I ain't going to mention his name, okay? But it just, you seem to be, and who's that other lady that's always, I see her doing projects out there too, female.
Miss Beard. Councilwoman Beard.
Man, she's active, man. Anybody runs against her going to be stupid. I'm telling you. She's very involved, very active in her community. I wish just people would have more of that, male or female. It doesn't matter. Some of the best diamonds in Montgomery, a couple of them are not being touched. Old Cloverdale, for example. You know where the old Cloverdale, the restaurants and Sinclair's used to be right there, that main strip?
Of course, I can walk there from my house.
Yeah, and you remember the greatest pizza place there? Was it Tomatino's?
Correct.
Oh, man, I tell you. I just go for the pizza and show up, and get a little gelato at the same time, I'm loading myself up. But, it just seems like when things start to fall apart down there, it just fell apart. Nobody did anything about it. I mean, the Capri, unfortunately, has to be is an individual product, independent, and they have to have their own funds and committees and everything else. I don't see the city helping them too much. So that's one of them. The second thing is a Museum of Fine Arts. When I was younger, they had Rembrandt. I guess the lady was showing a personal, what do you call it? Her collection of Rembrandts down there and she had the self-portrait of Rembrandt there. I was like, is this the real deal? Is this a copy? Is this a fake? He goes, no, there wasn't even security guards around. Man, I could take this and run with it. So that's another thing that's not. And another thing is the Fox Theater, for example, it's up in Atlanta. Montgomery's, not the museum, but the Shakespeare Festival. What a diamond in the rough again. People just don't realize that. How many people come out of busloads from out of town just to come to the Shakespeare Festival? Unfreaking believable. I mean, they're just truckloads.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, and this is what I keep telling people is, we can spend hours talking about things that we perceive as negatives, but we should also spend at least that much energy or more talking about the positives. And let me go back to the first one that you mentioned. You mentioned what's happening in Cloverdale. Let me give you an update about what's happening over there. Yeah. The Capri isn't not something is not an afterthought. We actually had the state of Alabama invest in the new marquee and facade. I gave to that project, that capital campaign, a lot of people. They raised over $150,000. If you go look at the new marquee at the Capri Theater, it is absolutely stunning. And then across the street, we fought really, really hard for one of the first of its kind under this administration to get $500,000 of infrastructure incentives to the developers that are now working on those buildings on that East Fairview strip. They've already announced that Big Bad Breakfast, which comes to us from, is it Oxford, Mississippi, is going to be their anchor tenant. And we could see the keys to that building being handed over to Big Bad Breakfast by the end of this year, which is huge. We're also going to have some more development and some more businesses coming into that area. On top of that, I have taken $70,000 of ARPA funds, and we are investing that in redesigning the streetscape between Huntington College and that shopping area. We want to help enhance the experience for Huntington College students over there and to increase the amount of foot traffic over for those buildings. So I think that is a big jump off. You also mentioned, not just the Museum of Fine Arts, the Shakespeare Festival, but something you'll forget, the Montgomery Symphony, which is at the Davis Theater in downtown, which looks a whole heck of a lot like, the Fox Theater. It is a fabulous location. And we are having world-class musicians and world-class performances being hosted there. So I agree with you. And I wish that more people would, I am happy to be here and to respond, to help people as best I can. I'm also asking the public to just think about being a little bit more of a cheerleader, finding some of these hidden gems, as you say, and go out and experience them. As I said, you can be critical all you want to of things like Montgomery Whitewater. I just had lunch there. It was fabulous. It was a great experience. There were people out on the water. There were kids out there running around. Go see some of these things, and then let's have a real conversation about what we need to do going forward.
Thing about this, I'm thinking about the Whitewater. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm going to be honest with you. Reason why?
Have you done it?
It's my style and my taste, but I like the old Cloverdale because it is very eclectic. And let me tell you, I'm a Republican conservative, and let me tell you, there's not too many of us that are going over there, okay? Because, man, that's controlled by the liberals and the leftists over there. but we seem to get along when we ate Tomatino's pizza.
Hey, I mean, I don't think pizza is partisan. So,
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not, because
Well, Soldier Boy, I got some other calls here. I appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Let's go to Urbanite. Hey, Urbanite.
Yeah, hi. I'm just going to piggyback on what Soldier Boy was saying about exhibits. I remember my favorite exhibit was the Da Vinci sketches they had at the museum. When are we going to have quality exhibits again?
Well, that's what I said. The museum is still open, and they're still doing some amazing art out there. Some of the shows and the galleries that they have are absolutely fabulous, and it does take a full team of not just we get kind of bogged down talking about the boards, but think about all the wonderful staff that we have out there, right? The city employees that have been out there, whether they be part of the curating
that
team.
That doesn't mean anything to the average person, dude.
Well, I think it does, though, because that's one of the best parts about having a free museum is the experience starts as soon as you get to the desk when you walk in those doors.
Well, you think maybe free is no longer the answer if we're going to get quality exhibits?
Well, we are an accredited art museum, and so I think the idea, if you go out there right now, they have great quality, in my opinion, and I'm not the best.
Well, and Urbanite, I think if they figure out this governance confusion, then it's going to work out fine.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the Viking tour group out of Europe?
Like the cruise ships?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were looking for new avenues in an article I read from Wall Street. Wouldn't it be great if you could pitch them to somehow come to Montgomery to maybe unfortunately go to Selma or somewhere like that, or find some other destination to go to on the river?
Yeah, I think the only problem Viking's going to have is that our river doesn't give them very much wiggle room, because between here and Mobile, you can't get a cruise ship up this way anymore. But I do think, and look, I'm watching it happen right in front of my eyes, right across the street from my business. We're watching the new Elevation Hotel and Conference Center come out of the ground. And so I do think we're going to have a reason and a good case study for why the tourism opportunity in Montgomery is something we still haven't even come close to maximizing the potential of.
And then one other thing, what's going to be the story behind the planetarium? Since we're talking about the zoo, we talked about the zoo earlier.
Yeah.
Will it be put with the zoo?
I don't know.
So, the zoo, will it be done on a world-class level?
Well, I've been told that that there have been some plans and some proposals for enhancing the planetarium experience. I know that there has been some talk about whether or not it needs to stay where it is or move. I have not, to be honest with you, do not know really kind of what the next steps that are best. I haven't seen us really do kind of an impact study on it. And that's one of the things that people have to understand about this process is we have to make sure that before, what I might think is the best idea needs to be backed up by some facts. So I don't want to give you something that may not be
all the
out.
talk about Elon talking about going to Mars and the Space Command possibly coming to Huntsville. You don't think that would generate interest once again in the planetarium?
I think it definitely will. I think space is something that's going to get reinvigorated as part of all of this. And, we can keep our fingers crossed about Space Force coming up to the Huntsville area. I'll be up in Huntsville on Friday, and we just know that's going to... How about the
planetarium being moved out to the water park near Maxwell?
I think there's a lot of options for making that a really viable and engaging quality of life enhancement for the city of Montgomery, for sure.
Well, I appreciate it, Urbanite.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hey, let's just do a risky click. Line 1, you're on the air. Who's this?
Ooh.
Hey, this is T-Spirit. How are you doing today?
I'm all right, T-Spirit. Tight on time, so make it quick.
Okay. You're talking about bringing in people and bringing in visitors to Montgomery.
Sure.
I live over in Opelika, and I can safely say I think I represent a lot of the retirees in Opelika. When are you going to make Montgomery safe? When are you going to make Montgomery equitable for everybody to come instead of that big, bold sign on the wall standing downtown Montgomery that was put up there to be temporary, but it's now become permanent? All lives should matter.
Well,
and unfortunately, until all lives matter in Montgomery, which they don't, obviously, we're not coming to Montgomery. We're not coming to Montgomery to shop. We used to love to go, and I'd put the dogs in the kennel. It cost me over $100 a day just to kennel my dogs so that I could come and shop and go to lunch or to dinner in Montgomery. And I refuse to do that now. And there are thousands of us all throughout the state who feel the same way. Whitewater is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I think that's great. It should be paying its own way. But until you bring the zoos back to where we can go and feel safe, until you bring the museums back where we can go and feel safe, and until Until you bring the shopping communities back to where we feel safe, a lot of us aren't coming to Montgomery.
I think you've made your point, T-Spear. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, that's, I don't know if I've ever indicated that I didn't, a particular stance on what lives matter and whatnot. But what I will tell you is this: is that we've been making investments into all of those different corridors that you're talking about. Great example right now. Block by Block is in downtown. There's 150 cities that work with Block by Block. They're a nationwide program that help to make sure that downtown areas are clean and safe, and that the businesses are able to thrive down there. We have ambassadors on the streets right now that are helping with beautifying areas of downtown, taking care of some of the trash issues that have been called out, and also dealing with some of the vagrancy issues that we have down there. So we are making big investments in that. We just had the wonderful Red Bluff Festival that went off without a hitch this past weekend, with fabulous national musicians coming from all over the country that are performing here in Montgomery. And so I hear what you're saying. I believe that some people have this notion that Montgomery doesn't have areas where people can go and enjoy some of the wonderful things. I just don't agree with that, honestly. I mean, I go down to the Biscuits game all the time, and all I see down there are families having a wonderful time, enjoying something that was well criticized early on when it was first came to Montgomery, and now is an immense asset. I have military folks and families that come from Maxwell Base into my coffee shop all the time who are excited about being here in Montgomery and getting to explore all the different areas. We're seeing right now, I saw a study that said we had almost 1.1 million visitors that came from outside of Montgomery to experience not just the wonderful stuff that's happening at EJI, but all of these other assets that we have here. So do we need to do better about crime in the city? Absolutely. Yes. We definitely need to do better at that, not just for the people coming from out of town, but for residents that are here as well. We have to do better. We have to be committed. We have to call ourselves out when we're not doing everything we can to address that issue. But that issue is not as big of an impediment to some of the great things that are happening here that I think some people believe it is.
That's a good note, I think, to end on. I always appreciate your time, man.
Of course. I love coming on here. Thank you, everybody, for calling in.
I mean, and you're welcome someday to just hang out and, let your hair down, so to speak, and just kick around news topics.
I wore a jacket today, which I never do.
It's fancy. I like the look. I felt underdressed.
I would love to do that. We can maybe just.
Well, you got to be careful, though. We relax too much.
I know.
The crap I get people to say. Anyway, I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pestruccelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting. For over 21 years, Blue Water Broadcasting has been a proud part of the River region. We're not just a company, we're your neighbors. Our owners, air staff, account executives, and support team all live right here. We believe in this community, and we stand by our slogan, Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
If your decision for new floors is based on brands and selection, wanting perfect and professional installation, or the kind of customer service that doesn't even exist at big box stores, obviously you gotta shop Prattville Carpet. But if you're looking for the lowest price, in that case, it's still Prattville Carpet. Because during their summer sale going on now, you can get tile, luxury vinyl plank, and carpet, all for just $1.39 a square foot.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Come on down to Epicure and Jack's Tavern, where Southern comfort meets culinary delight. For just $9.99, seniors can enjoy their lunch meat special with 3 hearty sides, including a drink and bread. Regular sizes are just $13.99. Remember, at Epicure and Jack's, they make every dish from scratch every day. This isn't fast food, it's fresh food, crafted with care. Join them for a taste of the South, only at Epicure and Jack's Tavern.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Good. Life is grand. I hope you had a good Memorial Day.
I did. I spent it here.
Oh, there at Cohen.
One day I'll be as lucky as the radio personalities and get to be off on these days.
One of these days. I mean, but I'd imagine
Maybe I'll aspire to be Eddie.
Hey, you're welcome to come hang out whenever you like. The pay's not great, but you know.
Well, I mean, it depends on the benefits.
Yeah, we'll talk. My people called your people, and we'll figure something out. Yeah, we're setting up a retirement plan here. It's not like investments. It's just what do you do after you retire? Anyway, what's going on there today, Cohen's? What's the score there today?
The score is 31-0. Had a really nice lady come in the other day. She was a hoot. She wanted to find a recliner chair, and so the chair she picked out was actually a lift chair. And her son-in-law and daughter were there, and they wanted her to get a little smaller chair. They said something about her feet touching the ground, and she just looked at her and said, "Hell, my feet don't touch the ground on any of these chairs." And I told her, I said, "Well, with this chair, it's a lift chair, so it'll kind of dump you out, and then your feet will touch the ground." And so she doesn't need a lift chair. I think she was about 85, but she said in the future she may need a lift chair, so she's ready for the future. And she also bought a little, I don't know what to call it. It's 2 chairs put together. It's not a love seat, but she bought that for her daughter and her son-in-law, and we got those delivered. And of course, naturally, when we went to deliver them was when the bottom fell out. So our guy sat in the truck for about 15 minutes waiting for a break in the rain, but they got those in there and everybody's happy. And so yeah, it was good. It was good to get her taken care of.
Well, and folks, with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances, we often talk about the electronics and the appliances, but if you are looking for great furniture options, they really do have them there, as Michael's just describing. And you can always peruse online, shop online at thinkcohens.com, but nothing like actually, especially with a chair, you want to sit in it before you buy it, right? Just stop by.
Exactly.
2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery, open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and be like, "Hey, I heard you on that radio show with just Joey." There is no other guy here that day. It was just that Joey fella.
Yeah, just the Joey. So, y'all come see us. Bring us some pictures of your room or the area that you're trying to upgrade, maybe some dimensions, and come with some questions, and we'll ask you some questions, and we'll help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Well, I appreciate it, Michael. We'll talk again soon.
Y'all take care.
You too. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The manhunt is on in Arkansas's rugged Ozark Mountains for a former police chief and convicted killer who escaped from prison over the weekend. Grant Hardin is the former police chief in the small town of Gateway near the Arkansas-Missouri border. He was serving a decades-long sentence for murder and rape. SpaceX has launched its Starship mega rocket again after back-to-back explosions. It made it through the entire test flight Tuesday evening, but fell short of its main objectives when the spacecraft tumbled out of control. The Indiana Pacers just now one win away from the NBA Finals, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are one victory away from their spot in the title round as well. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 110 points. The NASDAQ down 1. This is SRN News.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by MPM Feed and Seed. Man's best friend deserves nothing but the best, and that's what you'll find at MPM Feed and Seed in Prattville. They carry only the highest quality dog food brands for your best friend. MPM in Prattville, 1313 Highway 31 North. Open 8 to 5:30 on weekdays and Saturdays 8 to 2. Call Clint Smith at 334-361-8818.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Hi, everybody. We are still in May, but we're into very much a June weather pattern with lots of humidity, and we'll be in and out of the clouds at times today, with showers and thunderstorms becoming a good bet, especially in the afternoon and evening hours, fading out at night. And once again, from the Storm Prediction Center, a marginal severe weather risk today and tomorrow. Damaging wind gusts would be the main threat. High temperatures will be in the 80s today, depending on the amount of sunshine. Lows tonight down to around 70, and showers and storms are also likely on Friday as a front approaches. We're expecting some much nicer air by Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
ASE's 25 and 25 has you covered. For just $25 in closing costs, you can tap into your home's equity. No hidden fees, no headaches, just extra cash. Visit your local ASE Credit Union branch today. Federally insured by NCUA, NMLS 420259. Terms apply.
ASE Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASE.
ASE, an equal housing lender.
1819 News.
A former U.S. Navy SEAL who has been living here in Alabama is now planning to run for the U.S. Senate seat that will open up now that Tommy Tuberville is not running for re-election. Jared Hudson has announced his plans to run for the Senate seat the day after Tuberville announced his plans to run as governor. Hudson has founded the Covenant Rescue Group, which combats human trafficking and child sex exploitation. He also owns and runs the Shooting Institute. Hudson ran to be the Jefferson County sheriff back in 2022. He lost narrowly to Democrat Mark Petway in that race. Hudson says he will stand by President Trump in securing the border, crushing the woke agenda, upholding the U.S. Constitution, and defending Christian values. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having people that care about you, to have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. My house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
U.S. Congressman Barry Moore says he's also looking into a possible bid for the U.S. Senate seat. Moore has confirmed with 1819 News that he and his family are considering and praying about this decision. Moore also said he's proud of his record in the U.S. House as a conservative voice and an ally to President Trump. The Jefferson County Commissioner is jumping into the Birmingham mayoral race. LaShondra Scales announced on Tuesday that she will be challenging incumbent Mayor Randall Woodfin and another Democrat challenger, Wandalyn Gavan. Scales told ABC 3340 News that 47% of the commission district is Birmingham and that the city is dying and that issue must be addressed. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy? I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Or I forget. As part of the program, in fact, the entire last hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you whether you're looking to purchase a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. They can walk you through that process. All starts with pre-approval. Do not skip that first step, or you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. But from pre-approval all the way to closing day, Alabama Home Mortgage will be walking with you each step of the way to actually, well, make sure you get that home you're dreaming of. Or maybe you're looking to refinance to get debt off your back or lower, say, monthly overhead costs, especially if you're near or in retirement. They can help you with all of that. No matter your goals, they've got your back there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Call up Kim and Madeline today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can start the process online. Apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender. Oh, Lord. Duke is on the line. Hey, Duke, how you doing?
Mr. Joy, how you doing?
I'm great.
Okay. Now, I've been sitting here listening to the people calling about Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
And last I checked, Joey, all cities in the United States, most of them, majority of the cities, have some kind of crime going on. Take, for example, these surrounding cities, Prattville, Millbrook, and Opelika, and Auburn. Got one in Auburn, got a female came to Montgomery and shot somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
Got another female last week. Was it last week?
So, wait, you're saying those cities have higher crime rates than Montgomery?
Just as much, you know.
I don't know if it's just as much.
They have people from their city coming to Montgomery committing crimes, shooting our citizens also. But we are in the last days now. Y'all know that. All this stuff is recorded in the Bible. Everything in the Bible got the fact. Okay, so why are we complaining about Montgomery? Mobile got this stuff going on, shooting. And I mean, it's so bad now where you got these people got something called a trail ride. You heard about the trail ride?
No, tell me about the trail. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, black people, they get together and go out and hang out and do trail rides. You know, all of them don't have horses at the trail ride, but trying to have a good time. Okay, here come a couple of these cats that live in Millbrook or wherever. Come down there and start shooting at this trail ride. They run a check on them. They from Prattville or the ones go down to Panama City Beach acting a fool down there. They from surrounding areas, Opelika, Prattville, and all that. So crime is everywhere, people. Even the little small city book tells us Alabama got crime going on. Old Bubba down there, old ex-police officer down there, white guy down there shooting the whole family and shooting his girlfriend and all that the weekend somewhere. Where was that at, Joey?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah, they had him on the news yesterday. He shot his wife because he said his wife pulled a gun on him first, something like that. I don't know.
Well, if it was self-defense, I mean.
Yeah, but he said self-defense. You know, I understand that. You know, you got to, you know, we fear for your life, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say self-defense. You married her.
Yeah, you know, a man was supposed to hit no woman, they say, you know. Oh, now they
don't you start. Don't you
Not
start.
even with a bullet now. That's what
Not
they say,
even
man.
with a
What?
bullet. Don't you start.
Yeah, but for these people to come on here and say how bad Montgomery is, you still cut to Montgomery to work every day, don't you? Yes. So you got them bills to pay. You got them big old houses and them damn woods to pay for out there, Pike Road.
Well, no, and my general thing is I agree. My perspective is I agree with Councilor Szymanski. There are a lot of good things at Montgomery. I agree. It's just a fact. There has been a lot of investment in and around the city. But I would also say, as I brought up with the mayor last time he's on, if we don't get education a bit sounder, especially with our traditional public schools, and yes, we're at very low force levels. I think there's a lot that goes unreported, and it's not just say homicides. You're talking property crimes, and our rates of crime are higher compared to a lot of things. It's not like crime doesn't happen elsewhere, but it happens at a higher rate. I personally feel unsafe going around Montgomery? No, but that's because I guess me, and maybe I'm being naive about something. But these are issues that need to be fixed, and you just heard Szymanski talking about how it needs to be fixed. We got to do better, especially on the policing front and recruiting.
But instead of complaining, we all as the citizens got to sit together and come up with some answers and work it out.
Dude, T-Spear has been T-Spear and sometimes as Thunder has been calling these airways for 2 decades now. The woman ain't changing, and I love her for it.
You know, I love T-Spear.
Don't you be dogging out T-Spear.
I ain't dogging out me and her. You know, I'm debating her just a little bit. That's all.
Okay,
that's my girl right there. Her and Duncan Lower. I want to meet those two individuals one day. I do, for real.
Yeah, good folks.
Oh yes, I feel they are. But one more thing though, Miss Joey, before I left, damn, I'm talking about left. Before I leave, sir, how's it going with the Nobel Peace Prize for Donnie from Queens? I mean, is real war still going on over there, and Putin war still going on? And he said day one he's gonna stop all this right here. Baby Jesus said that now. Come on.
Baby Jesus.
That, Baby Jesus, yes.
Well, it seems like the two sides in both cases want to keep fighting.
But Baby Jesus said he's going to stop it in one day, and he said, I had a talk with homeboy or the other homeboy last week, and we're going to work it out.
Well, I mean, he hasn't gotten it done in just one day, so it's not like they aren't trying, though.
It haven't happened in many, many moons with no other president, but Baby Jesus said he's gonna get it done, so I'm still waiting. Like who had that song out? Prince said, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, waiting for that love, yeah.
Yes, play that song for me.
Wait, like off the 1979 album?
I want to hear that song. Still waiting on Trump to make Putin bow down to him.
Well, okay. I mean, I can't do the harmony and backing vocals. I'd sing it for you, but I mean, I'm still waiting too. You hear me on these airwaves. We're in the middle of all this stuff, and I wish it could have been solved day one. It hasn't been. In particular, the peace deals. I think it needs that.
Ago, everybody running to the TV trying to show that what's that, Marco Rubio and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't nothing but a little. He getting worse than Tim Scott now to me. Kissing Trump cornhole.
No, but Rubio's been saying pretty upfront.
No, he's saying that Trump deserves the peace prize because he done made peace over there. Had them folks still fighting.
Yeah, but Rubio's also said nothing is for certain. We'll see. We're trying to work the process. And these things don't stop easy.
They put the bug ahead of the heart. They need to get the thing stopped first, then come say, "Oh, we did a good job." But no, every hot microphone, they breaking in, they getting to trying to get the little TV time in.
You know, you keep talking like this. I'm gonna.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Trump's not happy, man. He's not happy at all.
Well, happy. Play that song. Don't worry, be happy. Too while you're playing the other song for me.
Well, I'm playing Still Waiting.
Yes, play that one too for me. Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah, no, I think the best song of that album is I Feel For You, but I appreciate it, dude. Thank you, man. 272-9228. Let's go to Papa B. Hey, Papa B.
Hey. So, how do you pronounce that councilman's name?
Szymanski.
Szymanski. I really like that guy.
Yeah, he's a straight shooter, man.
He's got a lot of fortitude. He doesn't just sit there and get kicked. He will come back at you, but more than that, it's always positive spin. You know, he's got just a kind of a positive personality. Things, you know, like he's genuinely interested in trying to get some good things done.
Yes.
I'm more than impressed with the guy. So, you know, they have this new, we got to have a new flag for Montgomery.
Yeah.
But I no longer live in Montgomery, so I don't get to say. But,
I don't even know what the flag currently is.
Well,
I'm
you know,
so tempted to say flags are for something that rhymes with it, but I won't say that. I can't say that.
True enough. But you know, it does. They have the one stripe with stars, harkening back to the Confederate flag. You know, and they've been slow. Of course, before that, it was I don't know. It looked like a Confederate flag with the field of Montgomery in the middle. In some of the previous designs. But, you know, it's almost like, well, look, you know, we're stuck with history. You can like it. You can bang your head on the wall and not like it. You can, you know, pitch a fit if you want to, but it just is what history is. It's what it is. And the history of Montgomery has deep roots in the Civil War and the Confederacy. But in my mind, it seems like there's just a concerted effort to just whitewash that, just to, you know, get rid of it, ethnic cleansing kind of thing. If you kind of understand where I'm coming from there.
I think that's ethnic cleansing is a little over the top, but I will say no, I'll put it this way. We're a majority black city. They just elected, 6 years ago, the first black mayor. They're in charge. We're tired of this stuff. We've never liked this stuff. And since we're in charge, we're changing it.
I agreed, you know, and of course that's fine. That's the way it's going to be. But at the same time, you know, it looks like that's kind of what is sort of part of what's going on. They don't want that little
where I've had my differences with the mayor and some of the folks here in town is it seems like they want to recapitulate the same fight over and over again. Like we must always be butting heads, and it's got to be a fist in the face of the old Confederate Cavaliers. And it's just like y'all can change stuff, but do it in a way that attracts new people, that maybe buries the hatchet a little bit with others. Like it does seem, that's why I'm the BLM mural. I don't really care at the end of the day. I don't really care about the flag, but if we are going to care about these things, there are smart ways, I think, to go about it that make the city better. And you can tell that whole swath of history. You start with the Civil War and you walk through the whole civil rights thing, and and then, okay, what's the future? And that's what I'm worried about. I think we're getting a little, we're not focusing as much on what could be sort of a platform everybody walks through in the future. And a lot of it's the national politics. Everything is now national, sadly, even at the local level. So, you know, maybe the Democratic Party here in Alabama, in particular Montgomery, the folks running stuff, become a little more creative and go their own way, tell their own story instead of kowtowing to more national trends. But I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you kind of, I guess I'm getting a little bit of a point across, you know.
No, you are.
I think that, you know, the reason that there's this big hubbub about changing the flag is because it's got a little bit of hearkening back to the Confederacy there.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to be proven wrong, but I think that that's probably right.
Oh, no, he will explicitly say that.
You know?
That's why they want to change it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. Very good. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Bobby. 272-9228. Let's go to line 4. You on there? Who's this?
Hey, it's Has-Been.
Hey, Has-Been. How you doing?
For Duke, and he was saying people, other cities have crime problems, Montgomery, Mobile, Birmingham. I used to live in Mobile. The deal there, Duke, is I live in Montgomery. I care about my safety and the other citizens' safety in Montgomery. I don't give a hoot and a poot about these other cities.
Yep.
It's Montgomery is the problem. Montgomery's motto should be crimes and schools, stupid, because that's what it should be.
Yep.
You know, I heard the mayor when he was on your show last week, he he let it slip. You were asking him about the manning for the police department, and he hauled around and finally gave a number, and he said it's like 300, and I think you said, will it be above that? He said, no, we're not even funded for that anymore.
Yeah, he said the days of 490 are over. We're budget for 350, and we're nowhere near 350. I think we're in the 200 something range.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, it is.
I really do think that is a problem, and I think it's going to be addressed during the next election. I really do. Things have got to change in this city. They've got to. It's bad. Last thing, I'll throw this cryptid message to you. I know you'll probably figure it out, but are flags for British cigarettes?
Yes. All right. There you go. There you go. There's so much I wish I could say on these airwaves, but I can't.
I hear you. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Hasman. 272-9228. So today, as we've been carrying on, especially me, carrying on like a wayward son I am, been a lot of action at the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas. In fact, the vice president of these here United States, J.D. Vance, gave about a 25-minute speech. Pretty good stuff. I love seeing the Trump administration completely bought in on these things. And so I want to go to some of what J.D. Vance had to say. Again, this happened probably right before I went on air. This happened about 11 o'clock something our time. And this is Vance giving his big address and signaling that the Trump administration is bought in on the whole Bitcoin conversation. So let's listen into some of this together.
From candidacy to the White House, because we've done, I think, a lot of good in the past 120 days, and I don't think we could have done it without David's support. I want to also thank the Winklevoss brothers, Tyler and Cameron. These guys are out here somewhere.
Yeah, those guys, the Winklevoss brothers, just put out a new credit card. You know how credit cards, you get cash back and rewards and stuff, points and whatnot? They have a new credit card where you get Bitcoin back, like 4% on gas or something. Pretty cool idea. The word is this is being adopted all over the place. And it's not like you necessarily even have to understand the intricate, like, what is Bitcoin mining at the end of the day? You don't necessarily have to understand that to start to see that this is gaining a lot of economic value and adoption. And now, with the vice president speaking, political adoption.
Who, I got to say, Tyler and Cameron, I think really helped break the dam in Silicon Valley. Because if you remember, you go back to June or July of last year, it feels like forever ago. It's not even a year ago, where Silicon Valley, people would whisper in private that they were going to support Donald Trump for president. They would talk about the fact the Democrats had gone too crazy. We had to get Gary Gensler the hell out of there, but they weren't quite willing to say.
Hear, hear.
But they weren't quite willing to say, at least not publicly, that they were going to take the big step and support Donald J. Trump. And Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, I think they were some of the first big names in Silicon Valley to take that step, and a whole host of people followed them. So Cameron and Tyler, thank you for that. And of course, I want to thank the good people at Coinbase, the organizers of this event, and everybody who made this incredible event possible. It's great to be here with Bitcoin at 108,000, at least when I checked this morning, and as Vice President of the United States. It's great to be here.
It's crazy, folks.
Now, you guys know I get to meet a lot of exciting people in my job, but it's been quite a while since I've been to a conference with this level of energy. I mean, hell, you guys came out here at 9 a.m. after a long night, I'm sure, in Las Vegas. You can't do that without a lot of good energy. But I promise I'm not just saying that to juice my own meme coins. But I think it's wrong, actually, to call this just a conference. This isn't a conference of people. This is a movement, and I'm proud to stand with you here today. And I think this conference, this movement of people, is where the future of cryptocurrency in this great country gets decided. So let's start by making one thing abundantly clear. that future is going to be decided by the people, by you, not by unelected bureaucrats.
Hear, hear.
Now, as you all probably know, you've got a star-studded lineup here today, including several of my colleagues in the Trump administration. David, Bo, Hester, I know you're all out there. It's great to be among so many friends and allies. So I want to speak for just a few minutes about a few things, and I want to talk a little bit about what we've done in the Trump administration. I want to give you a rundown of what this administration is doing on digital assets policy. But I also want to talk about some of the principles that help guide us as we develop this policy. But before that, I want to speak about why I'm personally optimistic about crypto and what it means for the American people. Now, people ask me why I tend to be bullish on the future of innovation in this country. Now, I spent enough time in Silicon Valley to recognize the difference between good tech, technology that boosts our productivity, makes our lives richer, that grounds us in the real world and complements our day-to-day lives. That's the good technology, but there's also some bad technology out there. And when it comes to crypto, I think the last several years have made it clear that we're talking about genuine, ground-up innovation, one that's already improving the well-being of tens of millions of our fellow citizens. I believe it's 50 million Americans own Bitcoin, and I believe that's going to be 100 million before too long. But it's not just about Bitcoin and about the value that's been generated, the wealth that's been generated by so many millions of our fellow citizens. Through decentralized finance, crypto has transformed how Americans transact with one another. It's expanded access to banking for many who may not otherwise have had it. And every single day, I feel like I see some groundbreaking new use of blockchain tech, whether it's in supply chain management, whether it's in hospitals, or whether it's in changing how we track and store patients' private health records. But for each of these new forward-looking applications, I also feel like there's an incredibly conservative element to crypto technology, and that's as a hedge. Crypto is a hedge against bad policymaking from Washington, no matter what party is in control. It's a hedge against skyrocketing inflation, which has eroded the savings rate of Americans over the last 4 years. And as you all know well, it's a hedge against a private sector that's increasingly willing to discriminate against consumers on the basis of their basic beliefs, including their politics.
Yeah, you just had our state auditors running for Secretary of State, Andrew Sorrell. I almost said Sismancy. Andrew Sorrell. He was just on Fox Business talking about how he was debanked as a gun store owner. And a lot of these folks in this crypto world have experienced the same thing. In many ways, it's the story of the Trump administration. That so many of the folks that the government under Biden and under Obama for a time, and even under the first Trump term, though we don't like to talk about that too much, but so many of the folks that were victimized, that were essentially on the receiving end of a really awful hand by the government, are now in charge. So many folks. Tulsi Gabbard was spied on, was put on a no-fly list while she was a member of Congress. They kept her on that no-fly list. After she leaves the Congress, she's now the director of national intelligence. You see this with the FBI, with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. You see it with Bobby Kennedy taking on all these big pharma interests, as well as other big medical interests. He's now in charge of things. And now you're starting to see it, that for years, if you've been in this movement, as the vice president just called it, you understand that the one thing that has mostly been holding us back at adopting this new technology is the government, are the unelected bureaucrats. Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, being one using the auto pen to harass people in the cryptocurrency world. Gary Gensler at the SEC doing policy by prosecution would lure people in. Hey, let's have a conversation about, new regulations. How do we regulate this new technology? And there would be somebody from the enforcement arm, and then there would immediately be a lawsuit. This is no way to actually adopt new innovations. This is not having an open hand to seeing this is American ingenuity. This is going to help build American wealth from the ground up. This is the same entrenched interest who sees upon something they don't understand, because the only part of it they understand is that it might threaten the gravy train we certainly suck from. You. Let's keep going here a little bit more with the vice president. Then I got to hit a break.
That includes, of course, debanking users for Second Amendment advocacy or for ties to the first Trump administration. In Canada, the government did the same to kill those big truck driver protests in 2022. Less than a week later, they succeeded. The protests were over. But maybe most importantly, I see crypto as a hedge against one of the most dangerous trends in the digital era in both the public and private sector. And that's of elites who, rather than innovate themselves, prefer to simply take over and co-opt cutting-edge technologies to assert their control over other people.
Yep.
And I know we believe this in this room. That's not Bitcoin. It'll never be Bitcoin. And you guys are going to make sure that happens. But as you know, there's a new sheriff in town, because after 4 years of mistreatment and outright hostility led by Democrat regulators, lawmakers in this country have a choice. Will we lead our nation into a future of financial sovereignty, of innovation, and of prosperity, or will we let unelected bureaucrats and foreign competitors write the rules for us? And I'm here today to say loud and clear, with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and an ally in the White House.
You're here.
In our administration, we understand the full potential of the digital assets industry, not just as an investment, not just as a flashy technology, but as a symbol and driver of personal liberty for all our citizens. And we are dedicated to seeing that promise fulfilled. The way that we see it, the people in this room are the digital pioneers of the American economy. And that's why our administration is doing something a little unusual in Washington. We're listening to all of you as you blaze the trail of innovation. The innovators in this room are making people's lives better. You're pushing boundaries and solving problems, injecting unprecedented transparency into how we do commerce. And the way we see it, you all deserve a similar level of transparency and clarity. And most of all, you deserve respect and support from your government, not bureaucrats trying to tear you down.
You're here.
Now that means a few substantive concrete steps. And of course, the first and most important of those steps is straightforward. We've got to clean up the wreckage that the last administration left us. And since day one, that is exactly what we've been trying to do. Our administration, we prioritize eliminating the rules, the red tape, and the lawfare that we saw aimed at crypto by our predecessors. We're ending the weaponization of federal regulations against this community. To put it simply, Operation Choke Point 2.0 is dead, and it's not coming back under the Trump administration.
Here, here.
And by the way, it's crazy that was ever even controversial, the idea of using the regulatory power of the government to crush an industry and to crush people who espoused a view that you didn't like. It's crazy. But let my words today serve as Operation Choke Point. Let me serve as its obituary. Now this is my vow to every single person here. You will never see this administration trying to handicap your community or diminish the impact it's had on the economy. Instead, we reject the Biden administration's legacy of death by 1,000 enforcement actions. We reject regulators. Maybe the most important thing that we did for this community, we reject regulators and we fired Gary Gensler, and we're going to fire everybody like him.
Hear, hear.
And we know that people like Gary Gensler, the game that they played is that under the pretense of consumer protection, they attacked every single effort to democratize our financial markets, and that is over. America. I grew up in a working class family. I believe that America is a place where anyone should be able to make a fortune, no matter where you grew up, what degree you may or may not have. And in recent years, I'm hard-pressed to think of a better place to do so than right here in the digital assets industry. Now, our second substantive step is we're trying to create a clear, pro-growth legal framework for stablecoins in this country. And I know we've got some solid allies in Congress. Is Cynthia Loomis out there today, or did she already go home? She already, well, you know, I was supposed to have dinner last night with Cynthia Loomis. We had a little event yesterday, and I looked around, I said, where the hell is Cynthia Loomis? And somebody said, well, she's got a dinner she had to go to. And I said, I'm the vice president. Unless she's having dinner with the president, Cynthia does not have an excuse to skip this event. But we love Cynthia, and I know that she's one of the great advocates for your industry in the United States Congress.
Got to hit a quick break. Hey, somebody just told me I have to mention this. Happy birthday, Boomer T. Hope it's a big one. Hope it's a good, big birthday. Happy birthday, fella. Pretty cool stuff. And I'm loving this. Pretty cool stuff for me to hear the vice president making these promises, laying it out. That it's not just about making money. It's not just about just common sense when it comes to the law and new technology. At the end of the day, this is about the promise of personal freedom and opportunity in American finance, as opposed to these gatekeepers that have been controlling the show for so long, that have been getting bailouts for years. It's time to let, well, American innovation actually not only bring more wealth to Americans, but more liberty as well. We got to hit this quick break. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon, and we have some exciting news to share with you. We've been serving the state of Alabama for many, many years, and now we are able and ready to offer the same great mortgage financing in Georgia and Florida as well.
Our company may be Alabama Home Mortgage, but now we can finance your Georgia home mortgage and your Florida home mortgage too. We couldn't be more excited to extend our customer base to our neighboring states. For years, we have had customers call us in hopes we could assist them with purchasing their vacation cabin in North Georgia or their dream home in Florida. And now we can. For those of you who have family and friends that live in Florida and Georgia, be sure to tell them the good news.
Whether you are looking to purchase or refinance a home located in Alabama, Georgia, or Florida, you owe it to yourself to give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time.
It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Gordon Ramsay always leaves you wanting seconds. So Fox tonight, you can have them. It starts with a new MasterChef Dynamic Duos as the auditions heat up.
Oh, 2 cooks better than 1.
Then, America can't stop spying on Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service.
I've got this restaurant under surveillance.
Where Gordon goes deep undercover.
That is one fat rat. I'm going in.
To save struggling restaurants.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Tonight on Fox 20.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Good morning. Do you have time for lunch today? My treat.
Absolutely. But what's the occasion?
I'm in love with the new 24/7 Express kiosk at Worth Cleaners. The kiosk is so easy to use, and I can drop off and pick up on my schedule. Thank you for sharing that tip with me.
You're welcome. I'm happy to have my lunch buddy back.
Have you tried the new Worth Cleaners 24/7 Express kiosk? This is the first service of its kind in Montgomery. Customers love the convenience of dropping off and picking up dry cleaning and laundry on their schedule, day or night, 365 days a year. Even if you've never used Worth Cleaners before, you can go to their location at 7825 Vaughn Road today and use their 24/7 Express kiosk. Instructions along with several descriptive photos are posted on the wall next to the kiosk to aid customers who are first-time users. Give it a try. Visit our Vaughn Road location or find Worth Cleaners on Facebook for more information. Your family's clothing is worth it.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Earnest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Earnest, 334-279-7431. Earnest Financial, LLC.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We've been in a very active weather pattern as far as the number of showers and storms on the radar each day, and that's going to continue for at least a couple of more days. Scattered showers and storms still possible well into the evening hours tonight. Some of the storms could be on the strong side. Marginal severe weather risk from the Storm Prediction Center continues. Low tonight down to about 70, the high tomorrow in the low to mid 80s, and showers and storms are likely on Friday as a cool front approaches. That front will deliver some really nice air by Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Hey, this is Peaches and Clean, powerful carpet cleaning. Do you have commercial property, offices, or rental units? Give us a call at Peaches and Clean. We can clean and restore your carpeting and bring them back to life. Give us a call at Peaches and Clean or peachesandclean.com.
There's no clean like Peaches and Clean.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is the Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians.
Shut up, silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm not alone anymore. Pamela's here. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
Yeah, good to see you. And I was liking what Vice President Vance was laying down with the whole Bitcoin thing.
I know. I was listening in the car, and every time he talks, I get like giddy.
Giddy.
Ooh,
Well,
yes.
here's another short portion of this. Let's listen real quick to this.
But I actually think that where Bitcoin is going is as a strategically important asset for the United States over the next decade. It's one of the reasons why President Trump, with the help of our great AI guy, David Sachs, it's one of the reasons why we started the Bitcoin Reserve.
Yep.
Because we want to start to put in motion the strategic importance of Bitcoin for the United States government. We know that the PRC doesn't like Bitcoin. The People's Republic of China doesn't like Bitcoin. Well, we should be asking ourselves, why is that? Why is our biggest adversary such an opponent of Bitcoin? And if the Communist Republic of China is leaning away from Bitcoin, then maybe the United States ought to be leaning into Bitcoin. And that's one of the things that we're going to be doing.
The Chinese said very clearly when they banned their banks from doing Bitcoin in like 2013, 2014, is money is a means of political control.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin introduces way too much freedom into the financial system for individuals and businesses and big firms. So I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's been a fun
Anything
conference.
they're
to watch.
against, I love.
Yeah, there you go.
Just
pretty
much.
Those commies. Let's go to James. Hey, James, how you doing?
Joey, how are you today, man?
Good.
here's what I hear when I listen to Vance, and what I hear is, well, let's look at it like this. I hear the man when he says control people, and then somewhere in there's crypto. As human beings,
Mm-hmm.
we have a narrow perception, all right? And our perception is short term, or our outlook is short term. And so now we have Trump in a position, and we think we know what we have, but what comes next? Are you following me?
Yeah, I mean, somebody could get elected and try to undo all this, but they're about to pass some pretty good laws, not just executive orders.
Well, it's not just necessarily the laws. If you have the laws in place and then you have the other team with their guy at the executive throttle, the hand levers, then what do you have when you have the change in power?
Well, the other team's already capitulating, especially the younger voices, like the Stablecoin Genius Act is bipartisan. So this is, and it's one of the few bipartisan things I've noticed, not just national, but here locally, like Democrats and Republicans interested in it. It's less a partisan thing and more old entrenched interests that thought this, much like China thinks it is a threat to their power. Once this gets entrenched and 100 million people own this stuff and big companies are using it as a reserve asset, you can try to take that away, but I think you're going to lose.
Recently, a certain individual, we won't name names, but has declared for a particular office. And my understanding, and that's limited, because I have very limited information, but my understanding is that this particular individual is in favor of Bitcoin, and maybe that's why we've declared for the position that we've declared for, to get in there and push a certain populace in that direction.
You saying Coach Tuberville's in favor of Bitcoin?
Oh, you didn't hear me say that.
Yeah. No, he's already been, I've heard him before. He's very favorable to it. You already have some folks working within the legislature. The study commission that was stood up in 2024, their report is due by the third day of the 2026 legislative session. And so I think you could already see stuff done even before Tuberville wins that office.
Right. I'm just concerned that it's going to turn around and bite us. That's, you know.
Well, that's everything, ain't it, man?
Yeah.
Well, that's true, Joey.
Yeah.
I got you there. That's fair. That's fair. But that's just my concern. Again, I go back to the words that I picked out. Controlling people, and crypto was in there somewhere.
Well, appreciate it.
Remember, you heard it here first.
Thanks for calling. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. This is part of the program brought to you by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. Man, they have some good stuff over there.
I still have to go there for breakfast.
You have to try the cheese grits. If you go there for breakfast, I mean, that's awesome. And you're going to like whatever you get. But you have to try those cheese grits. If you don't, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. They're to die for. They really are. And that breakfast is Tuesday through Sunday. Look at the menu right now. You get a big old plate, like you get a country fried steak or like a custom made biscuit. Ooh, like a country fried steak biscuit even. But biscuits and gravy, they got the classics, pancakes, French toast. But again, the cheese grits are to die for. You got to try them out. Of course, they have a daily meat and 3 for lunch, as well as a kick butt menu, full barbecue menu. They're back to the original recipes that made Smokehouse Pit Barbecue famous in the first place. And man, they're blowing and going. It's really, really tasty stuff. Again, that could be dine in or take out, lunch, dinner, and of course, breakfast. Y'all get by there. You can check out their menu yourself if you want to build up an appetite there. It's smokehousepitbbq.com, or just search for Smokehouse Pit Barbecue on the Book of Faces, or just stop by. Same location they've always been, Main Street in Millbrook, and be sure to tell them that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you. 272-9228. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/radio to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio.
Jenny King, the king of clean, delivers reliable, high-quality commercial cleaning services through a proven franchise model that empowers local business owners. Jenny King's franchise owners receive the training, support, and resources needed to succeed, while clients benefit from tailored cleaning solutions backed by a global brand. Jenny King ensures consistent results, trust, and success for everyone we serve. Go to JennyKingCleans.com and find out how we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
Hi, I'm Dawn Sexton with Physical Therapy and Balance Center in Prattville. I've been advertising now with Blue Water Broadcasting for a while, and it has greatly increased our referrals. We're glad we can help people get increased mobility to love their life again. I highly recommend advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting. Thanks.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm great. How about you guys?
Oh, I'm flying through the day. Eddie hadn't been here all day, though, so, you know.
So you've had a great day.
Yeah, exactly.
We can talk bad about it since he's not here to defend us, though.
Yeah, I wasn't so distracted by stupid shirts.
Do you like stupid shirts? Because I got a couple I could send you.
Actually, I kind of do. I get, you know, I kid, but you got a few?
I got a couple like with the cat, like the Taco Cat.
Taco Cat?
The Taco Cat. You don't have a Taco Cat shirt?
I don't have a Taco Cat shirt.
It's a cat eating a taco, and I try to always wear it on Mexican night, but Angie will never let me out of the house with it.
Oh, but that's a fantastic. It's just like a cute little cat eating a taco.
Yeah, I can tell you what I need to do. What she used to do when she was a teenager, she would dress one way to go to school, and when she would get to school, she would change into what she wanted to wear. And when she came home, she would literally change back into what she was supposed to wear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling on Angie on the radio because I need to do that. I can go to the bathroom, fly the shirt off, put the other shirt up, and come out walking out from ear to ear. And I have to wait till we already have our food because she might leave.
I mean, I'll wear the Taco Cat shirt. What size is it?
It's a medium.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to squeeze into that schmedium, brother.
Well, it's because I'm a little skinny because I don't like lifting weights. They're heavy.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe I could throw it on. Eddie will make fun of me for being too tight.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, let's not forget we are selling floors today.
Yes,
285-8117. And we'll come out and give you that free measurement. Next thing you know, you got a floor down. Just that simple.
And folks, if you think about going on vacation, maybe like surprise the wife, like go on a week's vacation, give the key to the trustworthy folks there at Prattville Carpet. They'll get the job done. New carpet, traditional hard, whatever you're doing, ceramic tile.
Well, hey, look, even your garage. If you want that epoxy floor in your garage while you're gone, that's the best time to do it because it's like a 2 or 3 day process.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Roll in, you got a brand new garage floor. Right? There's just so many different things we can do for you guys. But you got to call us, 285-8117, and we'll come out and give you that free measurement.
When you call them up at 285-8117, be sure to tell them you heard Ray Bowles on the radio with that Joey fella.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Hey, I'm trying to figure out what I learned today. That I really like JD Vance and this whole embrace of Bitcoin. I think Councilman Andrew Szymanski is a real straight shooter. I like that guy. The transparency is a pretty great thing. Not sure what else I've learned. Probably not that much. I mean, I did see that Elon's disappointed in the big, beautiful bill, and I agree with Elon. They betrayed Elon if this is the way they're going with all this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's hope. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the lady with the strong back.
Yep.
She used to CrossFit. She said that it might bring up some DOGE rescission cuts, actually, like cut USAID and let Congress actually vote on this stuff.
Wow.
So
what a concept.
Could actually be a victory here. Master Thespian is here in the studio. Weren't you here yesterday?
Yeah. We get an extra dose.
It's summertime, so I've got a little bit more time off.
Nice.
So
I like your hat.
Gregory said, I'm lonely on Wednesday. Could you come?
Yeah,
I
because
said,
my
sure.
company is not enough.
What? He's now already taking you for granted?
Obviously.
Wow.
He's got to have a third chair or somebody on the screen.
What you have to do is leave for a little while and then he'll be like, come back.
I know. Seriously.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, he would freak out if I said, I need to take a week off.
Well, yeah, that's Greg. Greg does that sort of thing. He freaks out over the smallest of details.
Let's see who this is. Risky Click on line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Clint Jr.
Hey, Clint Jr. How you doing?
Good. All this Bitcoin talk, which I got involved in a year and a half or so ago because of you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Trump coin?
I have. I usually don't mess with anything other than Bitcoin.
Okay, I was wondering if you knew anything about it. I got a couple because I figured anything with Trump's name on it turns to gold.
Yeah, that one. I mean, those are straight up meme coins. Are it's like you're joining a fan club, so it could be a fun thing. But I just from past times of being burned, I just stick with Bitcoin.
What's the difference between Bitcoin and meme coin?
A lot of these meme coins, you can just create them out of thin air. So the Trump organization could just create a million new ones. Like companies can create shares, but Bitcoin's limited and a fixed supply, and this is why that one's particularly more valuable as opposed to Dogecoin, which is absurdly inflationary, but it's fun. It's a stupid meme. So, and then you have not just Trump but other big names where it's a good way to kind of run a club. You want to be part of the club, own our coin.
Right.
And apparently, it takes a lot of.
Thank you, Glenn Jr.
Apparently, it takes a lot of time and effort to mine Bitcoin.
It does.
There are all these little Bitcoin farms popping up all over the place in the South.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Somebody's buying someone's land, and then they put in this big old thing full of servers, and they're all doing the thing. Apparently, it's.
Well, there's about 20,000 different ones around the world. Running, and they're running all these computers to essentially guess a number to get the next block in the blockchain. And then if you are the one who wins that lottery guessing the right number, you get the reward, which I think is 3.25 Bitcoin right now.
Well, that's not too bad.
Which is, it's 350 grand or so. Yeah, not bad. And plus you get tipped for people to include their transactions in that latest block, that latest 10-minute segment. So there's plenty of money, and some folks are have hardly any overhead. They run these huge solar arrays, or they're doing water power, or there's all sorts of cool stuff happening with it.
There's some people that are complaining because they live right next to one. It's the noises.
Oh yeah,
it's constant whine.
No, when I first ran into this stuff, roommates. I wasn't smart enough to do it, but I had roommates. The whole room had these computer boxes opened up with GPUs running, and they were mining Litecoin and Bitcoin and a few other things. So yeah, I was an idiot in 2013. I should be a millionaire right now.
You were just not trusting of this new thing.
I was just poor.
Yeah.
So I thought, I made thousands of dollars. Look at me. Or something like that. Why did I say that in that voice? Look, I've already stolen some time. Greg Budell is next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM.